With all of that out of the way, we're set, we're in, we're relaxing, it's all good. Let us begin with the set review. With this up first. The Angelic Observer. For 5 and a white, you get an Angel Advisor creature. It costs 1 less to cast for each citizen you control. It is flying and it is a 3/3. Very good card. See it in limited if we do have a lot of citizens in this set. I would be shocked if there wasn't a good amount of citizens, considering that it's calling out citizens specifically. I have a feeling that this is mainly built for the Cabaretti or Naya family. If I'm remembering that one right. I'm going to be calling them by their old names, like Naya and Esper or Jund. You know, I finally got all those down, and now we're trying to change them up on me. So, I think this one was for the Naya. I think this is meant to be a staple in your get the board very wide decks. I think there is actually that 4-mana enchantment from Innistrad that this would go well with, because I believe that makes citizens. I could be wrong there. But yeah, solid card in limited. Wouldn't really give it anything else than that. Card numero dos. Backup Agent. For 1 and a white, you get a human citizen, and when he enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter onto a target creature. Okay, so we see here this is a citizen. Makes the other angel cost less. 1/1. Nice little dude for, I wouldn't even say sacrifice fodder. I would just say for limited if you need something to fill your deck out. Went the wrong way. Alright. We got the Ballroom Brawlers. For 3 and 2 white, you get a human warrior. Uncommon. Whenever it attacks, Ballroom Brawlers and up to 1 other target creature you control both gain your choice of First Strike or Lifelink until the end of turn. It's a 3/5. Okay. Again, solid limited card. I don't think we're going to see this in constructed play at all. Just my opinion. It's very niche-y. It does give you a good evasion or that life you need in limited. So a nice top end. If there's not some decent removal in this set, then this would definitely be a closer. Or at least one of. So I like it. Not for constructed. Boon of Safety. 1 white. Instant. Put a shield counter on target creature. Scry 1. This is going to be amazing in those Magecraft, Luminarch, Aspirant, get them bigger, and so on and so forth. Because they would need to have an instant speed spell. They can't just throw something in the way of it to chump block it. I don't know why I said that. They can throw something in the way to chump block it. They can't... if it doesn't get big enough, we could still swing in, maybe trade. We wouldn't have to worry about those. And it gives you a good scry. So multiple spells in a turn. Maybe slap this onto your gold span. Give yourself an extra treasure. I like that. For a Boros build, or maybe a Naya build. More likely a Naya build. Or... no. What are the brokers? Now I know them as the brokers because I see the symbol in the background. Can't remember. Can't remember their color combo right now. Bant? I think it's Bant. Yeah, I like this though. I think this will be seen in constructed. I think this will be seen a lot, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if this even made its way into maybe even modern. Well, let's start with that new Explorer first. We'll start with Explorer. I'm not nearly good enough at reviewing cards to say how far something up will go. But if it ended up in Modern at some point, I would not be surprised. If you just needed a very cheap something to protect your creatures, a nice little scry, and, you know, maybe in place of an opt, you take this. For the scry and the protecting of your creatures. Moving on, Broker's Initiate. For 1 white mana, you get a 0/4 Cat Citizen. You can pump it up for 5 mana, 4 in a Simic hybrid. And it gets base power 5/5 until end of turn. It is a Cat Citizen. Okay. This is, I don't know why this is calling to me, but something about this is calling to me. I do like the... I do like the stats for a 0/4. It's not a defender. You can buff it up by other means if you just want a big butt on the field. I don't know. I'd have to see what else is going on around it. Definitely a pick in Limited. Probably a big pick in Limited. You know, out of 5, you wouldn't hate to see it in your Limited deck, but you're not going out of your way to pick it. Just a thought. But yeah, pretty cool. Buy Your Silence. For 4 and a white, sorcery. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a treasure token. Okay, we've seen something like this before. You kill someone else's thing, and then... well, not even kill. You get rid of it completely. And they get a treasure for 5 mana. So you're ramping them up. By that point, probably doesn't even really matter. But it's removal. It's limited. You play it if you need it. Celebrity Fencer. Saw this on the little preview screen we had for the Naya family here. It is 4 mana altogether, 3 and a white. Elf Druid. When another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you put a 1/1 counter onto her. Okay. I don't hate that, actually. And I specifically mean that from a... I mean it from a Pauper's perspective. I enjoy Pauper. I don't play it too often, but I do enjoy it as a format. Because it's a good... in my opinion, it's a good place to help build your basics and foundations for what good cards are. And a 3/2... the 3/2 for 4, though. It's not even Hill Giant. It's just... She does get bigger with every other creature that comes in the battlefield, though, so that's nice. So she'll just continuously get bigger. I don't know if 4 mana is a good investment, though. So I'd say 3. Middle of the road. Citizen's Crowbar. 1 and a white. An artifact equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token and then attach this to it. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has white, tap, sacrifice Citizen's Crowbar, destroy target artifact or enchantment, and you can equip it for 2. Huh. So you're, in essence, you're playing this, you're getting a 2/2 that's green and white. Not sure if the colors have any relevance right now, but we'll see. And it's going to leave a body, but will give you the ability to destroy... I don't hate this. I feel like this is a sideboard card specifically in an equipment deck. I could see this in constructed and niche as a sideboard card. But I don't know what sideboard. Huh. Maybe one in the main deck? I don't know. If it were just tap and destroy target artifact or enchantment, that'd be pretty cool. But If you have a way to maybe give your stuff vigilance, but now we're starting to get into Christmas tree land. So, The Dapper Shieldmate. For 3 and a white, you get a human soldier. Enters with that shield counter. And as long as it's your turn, it gets a buff up to its attack. For 2. So it becomes a 4-2. Okay. A 4-2 that you can swing in. And even if they try to block it, will more than likely take out one of their creatures and leave yours alive. Or they just take the 4 damage. The shield counter really makes you think. Really makes them have to make some tough decisions, and I like that. Depopulate. For 2 and a white, you get a Wrath of God, except with upside. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card, then destroy all cards. So this is like the Shadow to the Sky we saw back in Theros. Whoa, what the heck just happened there? Okay. Anyway. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card, then destroys all cards. So like I was saying, Shadow of the Sky of old in the Theros days, except instead of a creature with power 4 or greater, you get a multicolored creature who draws a card. We like it. We likey the destruction. It's not just a straight up board wipe, so it's not as good as Wrath of God, because even if you control a multicolored creature, that's fantastic. But if your opponent does, that means they also get to draw a card. Wrath of God just says, nope, no one gets nothing. That's the downside, by the way, for the compensation of it. That's why they do it that way. So yeah. Elspeth Resplendent. 3 and 2 whites. Legendary Planeswalker Elspeth. Looking fabulous in her lovely feather thing. And her face, also a thing. So, let's see the, I saw this one spoiled a little bit, but I didn't actually read the card. I've been trying to completely avoid reading, see what they do, so I can save it for this very moment. So, we can uptick for 1. Choose up to 1 target creature. Put a 1/1 counter on it. And a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance. Ooh. She already starts at 5 loyalty, too. I didn't even notice that. So 2 ticks, and she's at her ultimate. -3, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card from among... Oh, you may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter. Okay, so 3 down, you instantly... Well, you potentially get a body if you built the deck right with a shield counter. So you can chump block if they try to go in and kill your Elspeth here. On turn 5, though. Ooh. Ooh, that's a toughie. I have to think on that one. And its ultimate, or her ultimate, is -7 and create 5 3/3 white angel creature tokens with flying. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Okay. I mean, I like her. She'll see play. I don't know if she'll see play in decks that already exist. That is a permanent card, so it doesn't even have to necessarily be a creature, by the way. This -3. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less. So, Borrowed Time. If they have some tokens running around, you can grab your other white artifact, Portable Hole. Yeah. All in all, I think this is going to be a heck of a card. I'm not sure how far back it'll go, because it's 5 mana. Maybe if she was 4, she does do a lot. Vorinclex, though. Put in that Vorinclex, get double the counters, get the instant ultimate, get 15 power on the board. That'd be pretty cool. But again, Magic Christmas Tree Land. Extraction Specialist. For 2 and a white, you get a human rogue with lifelink. And when Extraction Specialist enters the battlefield, you return a target creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature can't block or attack, I said that backwards, for as long as you control Extraction Specialist. So this comes in, you get one of your guys back, maybe with a powerful effect. Maybe the doggo gets to draw a card. Maybe target creature. I'm stuck thinking in white. What else we got? The Hermit. Get the Hermit back. That'd be neat. Maybe you used it to counter something, and then you just grab it back out and have it on the field as another just standby copy or a standby counter. 2 or less. What's another 2 that everybody's playing right now? Thalia? Just so you can tax everything else. That'd be nifty. Which actually, that wouldn't be bad. You add this to your mono white deck potentially. Get a little lifelink. You get to bring that back if it's dead. Yeah, it might not be able to attack or block, but you don't usually attack with Thalia, or necessarily block, because by the time it becomes relevant, you're just using it to tax out the game anyway. That's an idea. I like it. You're going to see this in Constructed. I wouldn't be surprised if even at the end of the format. I don't know what is 2 or less in this set alone, but I can already think. I've already thought of a few off the top of my head. Oh, the Runes deck. The Runes deck could use this. A creature with built-in lifelink already. Maybe a 2 of to grab out any of those. You don't want it on the Kami because you want to swing with that, but you want it on the Jukai Naturalist. That's one. You want it on the one that gives the +1/+1 counters that I can't remember the name of right now. That's just needs to sit there. You don't need it to do anything. So I could see that be replacing something. I don't know what. You'd have to be playing around with the enchantment part of it at that point, and then it's like you slot this. I know what it is. You slot this in place of the 3 mana removal that you have in there now to blink something or something like that. That's what you're doing with this. I think that's what you're doing with this. You're replacing that 1 or 2 of that you're putting in there for this. Next up, we got Gathering Throng. For 2 and a white, you get a human citizen. Enters the battlefield, you can search your library for any number of cards named Gathering Throng. Reveal them, put them in your hand, and then shuffle. It's a 3/1. It is a... It's a bird that has this, and I can't remember the name of it. But it's that effect. It's a Legion Angel on a lower body. If you get it in draft and you can just keep pulling them, I think you'll win just outright, because 3 is a solid power, but I don't know what the toughness looks like on average in this set. So just a thought, just a silly little thought. And 3 mana is a little high, so I don't know. Gaida? Gugu. Font of Hope. For 1 and a white, angel legendary creature. Flying and Vigilance. Each other angel you control enters the battlefield with an initial 1/1 counter on it. For each other angel you already control. Tap for a white and use it to only cast angel spells. Well, you just found yourself a 2 mana ramper for angel decks specifically that is absolutely going in every angel deck at the beginning of this. Like, as soon as this Okay, so I don't know if anyone else knows this, but there was an Angel deck very low on the tiers that came out already. Here's a fun thing, though. This is going in every single one of those decks and making them better because it didn't have a solid 2-drop. Well, it just found it. A 3 of, because you don't want to draw it every single time, or maybe you do, and you just always want to ensure you have that ability. Yeah. She won't get any bigger, but that's fine. She buffs her up the angels because she is an angel herself. So this is going to bring probably up to a tier 2 for all the standard decks. And for any previous angel decks that didn't exist, it's probably going to get a little buff to those too. But I don't know of any other angel decks in any other parts of the meta. So, moving on. But yeah, this is going to be in standard. This is going to be a huge hit in standard. 2,000,000%. I'll do it if no one else does. Halo Fountain. So I know for a fact, off of TikTok, that there is a lot of, well, there's at least one janky win with this, and I've seen some people rave about it, but again, I try to swipe up as quick as I can. So I haven't fully embraced what the card says. So for 2 and a white, you get an artifact, and it says for a white, you can tap, untap a tapped creature you control, and you create a green-white citizen token for 1/1. For 2 white, tap, you untap 2 tapped creatures you control and draw a card. And for 5 white, tap, untap 15 tapped creatures you control, and you win the game. Does anything create tapped creatures? Does anything create tapped creatures? This is definitely a card for, I would assume, modern. Like, the further back you go, the better I think this gets. Because you have access to things to copy other things, and so on and so forth. Like, you could turn artifact tokens into creatures in the older formats. And then just tap those because of their innate tap ability. Tap ability. Or tap ability. So this is a fun card. I think it's a little too janky myself, but I don't know. I genuinely have no idea. You're never gonna get that last bit off. With the bonsai tree from the last set, you'll lose this thing every time. Because people are gonna be scared of that for the longest time. But those first 2 abilities, you know, that's definitely gonna... That's probably why this card will see play. For those first 2. I'm never sure on artifacts, because they're hit or miss for me. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Hold for Ransom. For 1 and a white. Enchantment Aura. It's a prison card. We've seen them. We like them. Enchant creature. It can't attack or block and has pay 7, hold for Ransom's controller, sacrifices it, and draws a card. So, pay 7. The controller of the enchantment has to sack it, but they get to draw a card in a turn. Huh. I actually like that a hell of a lot better than pacifism. Can't attack or block. Has pace 7. So you're literally holding it for ransom. Can only do it on their turn, and that's a lot of mana, so they're killing an entire turn just to unlock something of theirs and give you card advantage. So I think maybe in Pioneer, or Explorer, sorry. Historic Explorer. I think these are going to be solid cards. Something where you have access to your cast an aura, draw a card cards. the names of which are escaping me. Oh, Core Spirit Dancer and the Artificer, the dwarf Shram? We're gonna say Shram because I can't remember his name, but I'm pretty sure it's Shram. The Illuminator Virtuoso. For 1 and a white, it's a human rogue with double strike. And when it becomes the target of a spell you control, it connives. You draw a card, then discard a card, and if you discard a non-land card, you put a 1/1 counter on this creature. So this is a solid card for that 1-drop we saw a little earlier. This is a good card for other things that'll potentially pump it up. You can see a Jeskai build with this. I can see a... Well, I could see it. Well, can I see an Esper? You go Auras. Solid Aura card. Maybe this slips into that. It comes with built-in cycling. And then if you cycle away something you don't even need, that isn't a land, you put a counter on it. Bigger he gets, double strike. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I like it a lot. Inspiring Overseer. For 2 and a white, you get an Angel Cleric. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and draw a card. This is the same exact thing as the Priest from Adventures in the Forgotten Realm. The only difference is that this one flies. And is an angel. It's also a cleric. Kill Shot. For 2 and a white. Instant. Destroy target attacking creature. Removal unlimited. Have fun. Knockout Blow. 2 and a white. Instant. Costs 2 less if you're targeting a red creature. Aha. Aha. Potential sideboard card. What do we got? Deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature and you gain 4 life. That says 2. You gain 2 life. If we start seeing a giant surge in red decks with this upcoming set, you're absolutely going to see this card as a sideboard. If not, you won't. I mean, 4 damage usually don't have a whole lot of pump spells as far as to their toughness with red. They're all about the power. So, a solid card. Solid sideboard card if there's a lot of red decks running around. Keep that in mind for future sets. Mage's Attendant. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 blue wizard creature token with pay 1, sacrifice this creature. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. It is for 2 and a white, and it's a 3/2. So you get 2 bodies for the price of 1. Expensive 1, but it's a 1. Furries everywhere, rejoice. So it somewhat gets the effect of the Hermit anyway. But it's pay 1 to counter non-creature spell. So it's specifically your instant sorceries, planeswalker, artifacts, enchantments. Anything that's not a creature. I don't think it's bad. I do like it. I don't know how much I like it. I'm just trying to think of the current meta, how much people are tapping out completely. And I want to say that there actually is a lot of the ramp with the treasures, so people are tapped out quite a bit. They may be tempted to hold back because they see a potential shotgun sitting on the field waiting for them. So a solid deterrent, maybe? Limited, good, just because it gives you 2 bodies for the price of 1. You can never knock bodies in limited. Mysterious Limousine. 3 and 2 white. Artifact vehicle. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you exile up to 1 target creature until it leaves the battlefield. If the creature is put in exile this way, return each other card exiled with Mysterious Limousine to the battlefield under its owner's control. Grid against tokens. Just keep boop, 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 boop. You can yank up your own stuff because it says anything, so you could pick up your own guys if you wanted. Now, it isn't when it crews, it's specifically enter the battlefield or attacks. 5 for 4. Well, only has a crew of 2, though. Interesting. So, I don't know what you'd want to put in this thing, though. If there was something... If there was a 2-powered creature that had a powerful ETB effect, I could maybe see this. Play it, get rid of a token they have, something big. Tap the thing that you have to crew it, pop it into the limousine. But then it doesn't crew next turn. I feel like this is a powerful card. I don't know in what deck. Off the top of my head right now. So we're going to move on. Patch up. For 2 and a white. Sorcery. Return up to 3 target creatures you control with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is a white version of the Ikoria Call of the Death Dweller. The only difference being, this one allows you to get 3 1/1s back. That one only allows you to get 2 creatures altogether. However, they could be 2/3 mana creatures. And they also got a lifelink and death touch counter. No, they didn't. A menace and a death touch counter. That sounds closer. This one just gets you the things back. So, you can get 3 1s, you can get a 2 and a 1, you can get 1/3. This is going to be good in Sacrifice. Maybe the Orzhov Sack deck is able to come back a little more now. Rabble Rousing for 4 and a white. Enchantment. Hideaway. I was going to make a slide at the beginning of this, but I didn't. Hideaway 5. When this enchantment enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Exile 1 face down, and then put the rest of them at the bottom of your library in any random order. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green-white citizen creature tokens. Then, if you control 10 or more creatures, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Huh. Okay, so there's not that weird exactly clause, which is cool, like you saw on some of the previous enchantment card thingies. With this enchantment, lets you dig 5 deep, put something underneath it. You have to have that many creatures, and there's a lot of sweepers right now. Ooh, that's the downside. This sounds like a commander card, which I'm not entirely the fondest of. I don't hate it, I just wish it wasn't a thing as much. I like the competitive aspect, I like chess over Monopoly, let me put it like that. But I don't know, man. I do like the create that many. So this gets big quick. This will fill your board fast. So maybe you might be able to outrace them actually. So this might be something you'll see in standard. If you can get maybe I don't know, what's something big? So this just grabs anything, so you can play the exiled card. So we're looking for big, expensive thing that we want to get around the cost of. It does it after, so we just maybe want an ETB. Maybe a Planeswalker. Really isn't too many big ones. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. what we'd want. Some really stupid, big, expensive spell. That's what we'd want. Raffine's Confidence. That's not what that says. Raffine's Guidance for 1. Enchantment Aura. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. Okay, so far, I like it. I love 1/1s for 1. You can cast it from your graveyard by paying 3 rather than paying its mana cost. So this is like pseudo flashback, except it can just repeatedly go into the graveyard over and over and over and over again. I like that. That is there is an Auras deck coming to Standard. And I'm gonna very much so attempt to build it. And Pauper, forget about it. Raffine's Informant for 1 and a white. Human Wizard. When it enters, you connive. Draw a card, discard a card. If you discard a non-land card, put 1/1 target creature on blah, 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 blah. It's a 2/1. It's gonna be a beautiful thing when you need to filter in limited. Refuse to Yield. 1 and a white. Target creature gets +2/+7 until the end of turn. Untap it. Maybe you see this outside of limited. Maybe. That's a big maybe. Revelation of Power. I like the art for some reason. 1 and a white. Instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. If it has a counter on it, it also gains flying and lifelink until the end of turn. Is that supposed to be like Elspeth early in the day? Who is this? Oh no, it's that angel chick. Why does she have the sword that... Whatever. It's the one that does the Planeswalker thing. That I have no idea what that is. Because I haven't seen it yet. Rumor Gatherer. For 1 and 2 white. Oh, it's got a little elephant. Oh, it's got a bunch of little animals. Oh, I love this card. Oh, look at the little giraffe. Oh, it's so cute. And they got a little cow. Got a little bear. A duck. But he's carrying a little nut. Oh, I like the little elephant. Kind of a sucker for little elephants. Dumbo was one of my favorite movies as a child. I used to get made fun of my big ears too. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this is resolved, draw it instead. So, if we can make 2-for-1s every turn, if we can make 2 every turn, like for instance this and a Lol. Oh, that's one solid block of text. How would that work? Oh, no, I guess because it's... Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you could separate these out if you wanted. If they triggered at the same time? Or you would have to scry first and then draw, is what you'd have to do. There is no stacking. I realize you can't manipulate this one. Okay, so yeah, you'd have to scry first and then draw the card. Okay, well, it's still not bad. Still not bad at all. I like it. I don't like that it's a 2/1. Definitely more limited than anything. Potential, maybe constructed, but not in a high-level tournament. I would be shocked. But I love the little art. Digging the elephant. Sanctuary Warden. For 4 and 2 white. Angel Soldier. Flying. Enters with 2 shield counters on it. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may remove a counter from a creature or planeswalker you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. I don't know why I just did that. Yeah. Okay. So a super high top end. with really good evasion, has 2 shield counters on it, so it can take a couple hits or not die. You can, if you were running this in a Planeswalker deck, which, let's be honest, you are, you can pop off one of those counters that you've built up over time and get yourself a body and draw a card. So this is going in control decks, period. I don't know how far back. You're going to see this in standard, maybe the top end of those angel decks. But that's about it, I believe. But it is a fantastic card. Sky Crier, for 1 and a white. Bird Citizen, Flying Lifelink. For 3 and a white, you and target opponent each draw a card. It's a 1/1. If you really need some evasion, it's great. Speakeasy Server, for 4 and a white. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each other creature you control. Limited, this could get you a lot of life. I like that. And a 3/3 flyer, come on. Swooping Protector for 3 and a white. Has flash, okay. Flying. Enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Okay, so it literally is a 4 mana chump blocker. At any point. 2/1. Limited. I can't bring myself to say this is going to be unconstructed. This is limited all day. And that's really about it. The All-Seeing Arbiter. Oh, we're in blue. Cool. The All-Seeing Arbiter for 4 and 2 blue. Has flying. It's an avatar. It enters or attacks. You draw 2 cards and then discard a card. Okay, so you're always netting 1 card. That's cool. Whenever you discard a card, target creature an opponent controls gets -X, -0 until your next turn, where X is the number of different mana values among cards in your graveyard. So you're building this in a deck where you have a variety of mana values. Okay. You're always netting 1 card. You have to draw the 2 and discard. It is a big body and it flies. And who doesn't want Dr. Manhattan in their deck? It does stuff. That's cool. Yeah. Backstreet Bruiser for 1 and a blue. Creature. Cephid? No idea. Rogue has Defender 3/3. As long as there are 2 or more counters on creatures you control, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. Oh, okay. So 2 mana 3/3 that could attack. Very good limited. A lot of things give counters. Not very good outside of Pauper Constructed. Broker's Veteran for 1 and a blue. Human Soldier. When it dies, put a shield counter on a target creature you control. So you want to chump block it. Okay. Case the Joint for 3 and a blue. Instant. Draw 2 cards, then look at the top card of each player's library. So get some knowledge on your opponent's deck. Draw 2 cards without having to discard. I do like this. You've got to basically behold the multiverse. I'm not even going to count Memory Deluge, because that's in a whole other class all its own. You have to compare this to the other 4 mana draw 2 cards that exist. And the other one that is big right now is Behold the Multiverse. Still sees play. It has the Foretell cost to get it down to 2. But this gives you knowledge on your opponent's deck. And that's what you need to get from this. That is the big... Will this see more play if I can get more knowledge on my opponent's library? And on turn 4, By the end of the meta, you will have an idea of exactly what's in their hand if you're a really skilled Magic player. Short of that, you're not playing this card. Cut your losses. For 4 and 2 blue, sorcery, casualty, which means you can sacrifice a creature with 2 power or greater. So it's a creature, you can't do multiples. And when you do, copy this spell, and you may choose a new target for the copy. Target player mills half their library rounded down. So, that's fun. Here's the fun part. Because you're copying this, there's 2 different ones on the stack. You're going to mill half their library down from 60, let's say, by the time you cast this, let's say in a perfect world you get this on turn 6. It's not going to be the case. But let's say. You sacrifice off your what's going to run this card? You're playing the Rogue's deck with one of these in it. You sacrifice your flyer that is a 2/1 because it's getting buffed from the other guy. This is just an unexpected card they're not expecting. If you're going down from 40, milling them halfway... I said turn of... You know what I mean. If you're going from 50, let's say, or 40, let's say 40 for easy figuring, 40 down to 20, and then you're doing half again, it's 20 down to 10. You're not doing half and half and milling them for all of their deck. I wouldn't be surprised if for some reason that's how it worked, though, because I'm saying this with such passion and bravado, but short of that, that's what it does. So it'll take 40 down to 10 if you were to do the thing. Just keep that in mind. Still a fun card if you like mill decks. People love their mill decks. I was one of them for a long time. Disdainful Stroke. We have that now. We know what it does. Check out the new art. It's a Sphinx and a Fireball. Cool. Echo Inspector. 3 and a blue. Bird Rogue. Flying. When it enters, it connives. Draw a card. Discard the card. Get a counter if it's the right kind of card. 2/3. Love it and limited. Errant Street Artist. 1 blue. Legendary creature. Human Rogue. Flash. Defender. Haste. 0/3. This may seem confusing to people. The Defender is because you can't attack with this thing normally. The Haste is so you can immediately use the tap ability. Skilled Magic players who've played for a long time know that. Other people think Haste is just for the ability to swing. It's for being able to tap your creature right away. With that, you pay 2 mana, you tap it, you create a copy target card you control that wasn't cast. You may choose new targets for the copy. I don't know why I turned into Jeff Goldblum for a minute. Terrible Jeff Goldblum, and I know it. Even the score. Oh, perfect. I was going back to you anyway. Yeah. Weird. I don't know. I can think of some copies of things, but I can't think of anything that's going to copy. I can't think of something you're going to need to copy that badly that was cast for free that you can make a copy of. Like something that just comes into the battlefield. Copy target spell you control, but wasn't cast. I don't even know what this would work. I don't know. Even the score. X 3 blue. It costs 3 blue less if you've drawn 4 or more cards this turn. An instant. So if you are a draw heavy deck. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. This spell costs 3 less if an opponent has drawn 4 or more cards than you this turn. Oh, so you can choose the exact amount you wish to take if they've drawn a lot of cards this turn. Card draw is no joke. There are decks that do it now like crazy. So this would work pretty well. It's like, if you don't get the discount though, like, it's weird, but it's like a sideboard card draw spell. So like you have things that want you specifically to draw a card. I don't know what I are off the top of my head, but you want to specifically be able to draw the card. Memory Deluge looks at something and you put it in your hand. You don't draw it. And Behold the Multiverse allows you to draw. So if they're countering your, or if they're drawing a lot and stopping you from doing yours, maybe that's where this goes in. You sideboard out the Memory Deluge and you get this instead. Just said not Memory Deluge, the other one. Or you could force your opponent to draw, and if you have it set up right, every time they draw, they just immediately put it into the graveyard or exile. This has utilities. I am not smart enough, man, to know what they are. Expendable Lackey for 1 blue, Human Citizen. You can do 1 and a blue and exile it from your graveyard and create a 1/1 blue fish creature token. This creature can't be blocked. The fish, not him. Activate only as a sorcery. Now that I like. He is sacrifice fodder in the highest degree. Okay. Fairy Vandal. Has flash, flying for 1 and a blue. You get a Fairy Rogue. When you draw your second card each turn, you put a 1/1 counter on him. I can't remember what the name of the one from Throne of Eldraine was, but it had the same exact effect. No, it didn't. I don't think it had flash. I think that's the difference. The Hypnotic Grifter for 1 blue. A Human Rogue, 1/2. Stats are good. So far, we're looking good. You can pay 3 of any color, and he connives. There's going to be a mono blue deck. I guarantee it. I know that they want it to be a certain this or that, but some of these cards are just way too good. Ledger Shredder for 1 to blue. Advisor, rare, flying. Bird Advisor. When a player casts their second spell each turn, it connives. You draw a card and then discard a card, put a counter on it. Very nice, very nice. Good stuff. Draw a card, then discard. Whenever a player... So your opponent or you, problem being that this thing automatically does it. And you have no choice but to cycle a card in your hand. So that could work against you for a 1/3. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's tough. A little chat for 1 and a blue. Casualty. 1. You can sack a creature with power 1 or greater. If you do, copy this spell. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the other at the bottom of your library. Do the casualty, you copy this. 2 mana, look at 4. You're putting 2 in your hand. So Behold with the sacrifice trigger. Could work. Put something there. Majestic Metamorphosis. For 2 and a blue. Instant. Until the end of your turn, target artifact or creature. Becomes a 4/4 angel artifact creature and gains flying. Draw a card. I like it. Probably not enough to play it anywhere. It is a definite maybe in your limited decks. To draw the card is good. Surprise thing. Can't remember what that's called right now. Make disappear for 1 and a blue. Casualty, you can sacrifice. You counter target spell unless the controller pays 2. If you absolutely definitely want this person to do it and they have almost completely tapped out, and you really want to make sure they counter that spell, you can sacrifice one of your little dirtlers and make sure it's gone. Obscura Initiate for 2 and a blue. Bird Citizen. Flying 2/2. And you can give it lifelink until the end of turn. Okay, I like it. This is limited beauty right here. This is also not necessarily a signpost card, but it's kind of hinting you in that way. It's definitely big support for it. Signpost cards, for those not aware, are the cards in your limited and such, or the stuff they put into the set. It's usually an uncommon. It usually has all the different color, and since it's a 3-color, it's going to have all 3 of the colors. It's going to be part of that family, and it's going to do the thing that deck wants you to do. It's going to have a big impact on what that deck is kind of wanting you to do. That's the hint they give you. So yeah, it's a good thing toward that. An offer you can't refuse. You counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Because nothing says fun like they're trying to kill your guy. You go ahead and counter it with 1 mana, and they ramp. However, a thought I did have. What if you have a 1 mana thing? What if you have an opt? Or a consider? What if you really don't care about what your next card is because you have a full hand? And you want to ramp on turn 2? Or ramp on your opponent's turn, keeping up your other counter spells? Just a thought. It doesn't say counter target opponents, it just says counter target non-creature spell. Its controller. You can target your own thing. Maybe a 0 mana artifact. A ramp 2 mana on turn 1. Just a thought. Just a silly little thought. Out of the way. For a 3 and a blue. 2 less if you target a green permanent. Return it to its owner's hand to draw a card. So this will only cost you 2 less if you're targeting green specifically. There is no way in God's green earth that you will see this played. I would be absolutely flabbergasted if you ever saw this in play. You get card draw off of it, but it only ever goes down to 2. Maybe if it were 1, but I can't imagine this being somewhere where you want to get rid of a green permanent and put it back in their hands. The Psionic Snoop for 2 and a blue. Flash 0/3. When it enters the battlefield, it connives. Okay. Limited. Solid. The Psychic Pickpocket for 4 and a blue. For Celifed Rogue. When it enters the battlefield, it connives. When it connives this way, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. You draw a card, you do a little cycling, put the counter on it, and you return it. But only when it does it this way. Okay. So you get a 4/3 for 5, almost always. And you get to bounce one of your opponent's stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, you can bounce one of your things, too. Okay. Interesting. Public Enemy for 2 and a blue. Enchant creature. All creatures attack enchanted creature's controller each combat if able. And when enchanted creature dies, draw a card. So this is going on to your things. I assume. I can't imagine this going on to your opponent's stuff. This is a card that you play on your creatures, but why would you want... You would have to want your opponents to have to keep attacking you. If you have a bunch of auras, then it's not really out of the question, because you can keep, in essence, clearing the board. You get some shield counters on them. Even Death Touch won't work, so this is pretty interesting. Like I said, there's an aura deck here waiting to be built. Reservoir Kraken for 2 and 2 blue. Has Trample and Ward 2, 6/6. So far, love it. At the beginning of each combat, if it is untapped, an opponent may tap it. Oh, they may tap an untapped creature they control. And if they do, you tap this guy, and you create a blue fish that doesn't get blocked. So you get a body for deflecting this, and they go down a creature for the turn. So they tap that, and then you throw a Wandering Emperor out there? And kill their... You exile their tapped creature? That'd be funny. The Rooftop Nuisance. For 2 and a blue. Casualty 1. You can sack a thingy. Tap target creature, doesn't tap. We've seen this before. Nothing crazy. It's sorcery speed. You can maybe get it twice and draw 2 new cards. For 2 creatures. So keep that in mind. Run out of town. It looks like a beetle. It's a beetle. It's a bug. For 4 mana, instant speed, you return the owner of target non-land permanent puts it at the top or bottom of their library. No. Yeah, you're not going to see this anywhere, really. Security Bypass. For 1 and a blue. Enchanted creature. As long as enchanted creature is attacking alone, it can't be blocked. And it has, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, connive. It connives. So you can keep getting it bigger and bigger and bigger. And you get to cycle through your deck. With one guy that's getting real big. Oh, overshot it. Is this Sewer Crocodile? For 5 and a blue. Sewer Crocodile is a crocodile. You pay 4 and it can't be blocked this turn. And it costs 3 less to activate if there are 5 or more mana values from among cards in your graveyard. It's a 4/6. Okay, so maybe a closer. In limited. I can see that. Nice top end. You sleep with the fishes. 2 and 2 blue. Enchant creature. It's an aura. When Sleep with the Fishes enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature you control. Oh, what? Tap enchanted creature and you create a 1/1 blue fish creature token. Oh, so this is a 4 mana. You tap down your opponent's thing, and then you get a fish that can't be blocked. Okay, enchanted creature doesn't untap. Nifty. Maybe something. Definitely not competitive. Definitely not high-end stuff, but you can make a fun deck with it. You get a body, you get to stop one of your opponent's things. It's nice. You slip out the back for 1 blue. You put a 1/1 counter onto a target creature, and it phases out. There is an aura deck being built here. I can't remember. If you phase something out after blockers are declared, when it gets phased out, does it just disappear? Like, I can't remember what happens. Something to think about. Undercover Operative for 2 and 2 blue. Shapeshifter Rogue. You may have Undercover Operative enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it enters with a shield counter on it if you control that creature. If it would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove the shield counter instead. Okay, so this thing is a 4 mana, come in, and it copies anything on the battlefield, except as a shield counter. This is going to get played. I don't know in what. But it's definitely getting played against some big, beefy boys. If you target and copy something with transform, nothing will happen. As in, like, the... I'm going to say Graveyard Trespasser, even though I meant the white one. The Graveyard Trespasser, it will not flip to its backside because it doesn't have a backside. It's only the front side. It will start the day-night cycle, though, and it will have ward and all that crap. So, the Wing Shield Agent for 2 and a blue. Human Soldier enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. And when it attacks, up to 1 other target creature gains flying until the end of turn. Wiretapping for 4 and a blue. This is another hideaway enchantment we saw earlier. Look at the 5, put 1 underneath, and whenever you draw your first card during each of your draw steps, draw a card. Okay. Then, if you have 9 or more cards in hand, you may play the exiled card. Okay. So this is saying you're going to get to play... Basically, you draw 2 cards, if I'm understanding this correctly. So whenever you would draw your first card during each of your draw steps, draw a card. So you're going to draw a card. So whenever you draw your first card during your draw steps, you draw a card. Okay, so you're drawing 2 cards, in essence. Why are you doing that? But yeah, good card. I like it. Because in essence, after you play this... No, you won't have 9 or more cards in your hand. You're slow rolling this for sure. But, Witness Protection. Enchantment creature. Nope. Witness Protection. Enchant creature. It loses all abilities and becomes a 1/1 named Legitimate Business Person. I like it. I like it a lot. There is a Aura deck being built. Angel of Suffering for 3 and 2 black. 5/3 Nightmare Angel. Flying. If damage would be dealt to you, prevent that damage and mill twice that many cards. So, this was unfortunately one of the ones that I could not avoid. However, if anyone actually gets this long into the video, I thank you. I congratulate you. And I'm going to throw it out now just so I don't forget, and I'll do it again at the end. Please like and subscribe. Please go ahead and give the Twitch a follow. Please do all that fun stuff because I would greatly appreciate it. I love anyone who's sticking around to watch, even if you're lurking in the background. I don't expect a comment or two. I just wish for you to do those things because you're amazing. With that said, I'm going to tell you a little secret. There's a little card called Gaia's Blessing. Gaia's Blessing, when milled, lets you shuffle your graveyard back into your library. When this takes damage, you mill. You create an infinite loop. There's one other card that does it as well, but I can't remember the name of it. Whenever they enter the graveyard, do a little search on Scryfall. You'll find them. You're probably going to be able to win the game with this guy and maybe in a nice little Golgari build. Just some food for thought. The Body Launderer. Big boy. Or 2 and 2 black. Death Touch. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, it connives. Connives being the one that you draw and discard. When it dies, you return another non-rogue creature from your graveyard with equal or lesser power to the battlefield from the graveyard. So this could be fun. Can get very big. It's not terribly undercosted. Or it's not terribly overcost. Death Touch is solid. I don't like the whenever another non-token creature. But standard, you'll see some play for sure. Cemetery Tampering. 2 and a blue. 2 and a blue. 2 and a black. Enchantment, Hideaway. I can tell you right now, this one is already going to see play because it is 3 mana to get something for free in black. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 3 cards. Then if there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Like I said, this will probably never see play because you're milling up to 20 cards and then you get to flip it. At the same time, if you're a mill strategy, you'll absolutely play this card. So like I said, it's going to be everywhere in Standard, and you're going to see it in Modern, and you're going to see it all over the place, because you're going to be able to play something for free. It's not going to be overly costed as far as on the secondary market, but it's not going to be terrible neither. You know, it's going to be probably about a $2 or $3 card, but it's not going to be any higher than that, mainly for the Hideaway, casting something for free. So this is a great card, and whoever said it wasn't is a terrible person. So it definitely lands somewhere in the interesting category. The Corrupt Court Official for 1 and a black. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent discards a card. Okay, so it's a burglar rat. Not even. It's you get one in every set of different types and varieties. This one's a human advisor. He discards. Good for him. The Crooked Custodian for 1 and a black. He enters the battlefield tapped because he's a 3/2. That's something. Cut of the Prophets. X and 2 black. What the heck is going on in this picture? Holding someone down, they're taking little chunks out of them. Huh. Casualty 3. So you sack something with 3 or greater power. And when you do, you draw X cards and you lose X life. So this actually makes it a lot easier for the X question. You know, if you copy something with X, what happens? If you copy something with X, the mana cost is now that particular cost. So if I pay 3 as the X and then 2 black and pay 5 mana, this will copy that 5 that it has there. And you will draw 3 more cards and lose 3 more life. Unless you have something that really needs to be sacrificed, I do not know why someone would play this card. The Cutthroat Contender for black. Oh, probably a commander card. Cutthroat Contender for a black. It's a 1/1 Vampire Warrior. You pay 1 life, and he gets +1 to his attack. But you can only activate once each turn. So you get incremental life drain, I guess? I don't know. Limited, if you need a 1-spot filler. The Deal Gone Bad. 3 and a black. Target creature gets -3/-3 until the end of turn. Target player mills 3 cards. Okay. It's removal. With this, you actually get to remove something of your opponent's, and then you can mill 3 if you need to. So that's always nifty. Demon's Due. 3 and a black. Instant, scry 2, then draw 2 cards. You lose 2 life. The scrying first is interesting. Yeah, we'll have to see. Losing 2 life might be relevant, but... Dig up the body for 2 and a black. Instant. Casualty 1. Sack a creature to copy this bad boy. Mill 2 cards, then you return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Very nice. The Dusk Mangler. 5, 2 black. The 5/4. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice creature, discard a card, or pay 4 life. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life. So 7 mana. Do all that. Now, if you can sneak him in somehow, you don't have to cast him. But your opponent still has to do all that stuff. So that's always nice. Extract the Truth. 1 and a black. Choose 1. It's a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand, and you may choose a creature, enchantment, or planeswalker card from among it. And that player discards that card. Or target opponent sacrifices an enchantment. In the current meta, this is actually a pretty nifty card. I like that. I don't know what the new meta will look like with this new set, but as where it currently stands, that would be an excellent card to have right now in black. I believe. Mainly for that first one, and then in a pinch, maybe the second. But the decks that are running a lot of enchantments right now would have multiples to choose from. Some that are less risky to get rid of than others. Fake your own death. Whew. 79, baby. Fake your own death. For 1 and a black. Until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, return to the battlefield under your owner's control, and you gain a treasure token. It's one of those weird things we've seen from 1 mana to 2 mana and just gets your stuff back. This one gets you a treasure too. That's nifty. You might play it in your limited pool. You might not. Girder Goons. For 4 and a black. When it dies, you create a tapped 2/2 black rogue creature token. And it has a blitz cost, which is the one that gives you the haste, and it dies at the end of the turn, giving you a card to draw. But it leaves a body behind. So this is a nifty card for 4 damage potentially. But either way, you're going to get that death trigger, and either way, you're going to draw the card if you played it for its blitz cost. So I like the blitz mechanic. I think it's going to be nifty. Graveyard Shift for 4 and a black. This card has flash as long as there are 5 or more mana values from one card in your graveyard. Turn a target creature spell from a graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, interesting. So this is very much encouraging you to play a lot of mill or discard strategies in order to fill your bin and then return something from the graveyard to the battlefield. Really wish they would just like make something 4 mana, 3 mana. Like, I want to see a broken card again, you know? Anyway. Grizzly Sigil. For 1 black. Casualty 1. Choose target creature or planeswalker. If it was dealt non-combat damage this turn, it deals 3 damage to it, and you gain 3 life. Otherwise, it deals 1 damage to it, and you gain 1 life. Okay. So for 1 mana, you can potentially copy it, and then it would be... The copy would do 1 damage, and then because it was dealt that... So this is potentially 1 mana, 4 damage, if you sack a creature. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Illicit Shipment for 3 and 2 black. Sorcery, casualty 3. Search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle. You can do it twice. So it's a... not Demonic Tutor. Definitely not Demonic Tutor. Not the other one that's 4 mana normally. This is 5 mana, potentially get 2 cards. It's a tutor effect. It's a new tutor. You ain't gonna see it in standard play. You might see it in Commander. It's too expensive for it to be in this format. Incriminate for 1 and a black. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same player, and then that player sacrifices one of them. Okay, that's interesting. A little choice. I like that. Removal. You pick 2 big things your opponent has. They have to get rid of one of them. You know, gives you a little advantage potentially. You don't want to do this on like a hull breaker horror and a zombie token, because I'll give you money on what they're probably going to pick. Join the Maestros for 4 and a black. Casualty 2. You can sack 2 or power 2 or greater and create 2 4/3 Goblin Ogres. This will be a great card in Limited. I will be shocked if it's not. 2 bodies for the price of 1. Big bodies, too. The Maestros Initiate. For 2 and a black, you can pay 4 and mana to exile it from your graveyard, and then draw 2 cards, and then discard a card. So you net 1 card, and it is a 3/1. You're not too scared to lose it. The Midnight Assassin. It's a midnight... oh, God, not even close. Never mind. I was going to say it's a Nighthawk Scavenger, but no. For 2 and a black, you get a Flying Death Toucher that is a 1/2. You will not want this card. I will be shocked if people have this card in their decks. You will not play this card in Limited. You definitely ain't playing it anywhere else. Murder! We've seen murder before. Murder. Destroy target creature for 1 and 2 black. Night Clubber for 1 and 2 black. Human Warrior. When it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until the end of turn. You can blitz it in for 2 and a black to get to draw a card. Kill all little 1/1 dirtlers. You just may see this in the sideboard of a deck. You might see it in the sideboard depending on how big tokens still are, depending on how much they're still the little 1/1s or 2/1s, and you definitely will not see it against Olaf. That would be stupid. Raffine's Silencer for 2 and a black. When it enters the battlefield, you connive, do the whole card draw thing, discard counter. And when it dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X until the end of turn, where X is Raffine's Silencer's power. I.e., every time you do the discard thing, keep making her bigger and bigger, bigger, bigger. I don't know how I like her entering and potentially even just becoming a 2/2, though. Like, maybe limited playable, but definitely not a constructed card. Unless you really want to cycle away stuff, I guess. But, I don't know. It's an interesting mechanic. It's going to get use. I just don't know what exactly. But we haven't hit that many rares, so yeah. At least none that actually jump out to me that use that mechanic well. Revel Ruiner. It's 3 and a black. Menace. 3/1. And when it enters the battlefield, it connives. Those are all words. Rogues Gallery for 3 and a black. Sorcery. For each color, so 5, return up to 1 target creature card from of that. Whoa. For each color, return up to 1 target creature card of that color from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so 3 mana. And they drew it out here. Actually, that's funny. Oh, isn't this dude from Strixhaven? I can't remember. Anyway, so it's one from each of the 5 families, which means that you can actually grab one of each of them, because, you know, here's the green one, here's the black one, here's the red one, here's the white one, green, black, red, white, blue, and you get 5 back to your hand. So yeah, that's pretty nice. 5 color pile. Don't know what you're gonna put in it, but especially those folks around creatures, it's gonna be tough, but I'm sure you can make it work. The Sanguine Spy for 2 and a black, Vampire Rogue. It is a rare Menace and Lifelink. 2/3. Okay, not bad. Some evasion, all that. You can pay 1, sacrifice another creature. You look at the top card of your library, you may put it into your graveyard. Okay. Like the half of a Consider. Okay. And at the beginning of your end step, if there are 5 or more mana values, you may pay 2 life, and if you do, draw a card. Okay. So a lot of these 5 or more mana values from among cards in your graveyard things going on. Okay. I don't like this. I don't think this is going to see play. It might. I could be wrong. It's going to be in a control build, though, that focuses on creatures. I can't imagine this in something that actually goes aggro. 2-drop for Jadar. Make the Decayed Zombie. Sanguine Spy next turn. Turn after, be able to do the thing. Yeah, I don't like that line. I have to think of something. Shadow of Mortality. Okay, so this was actually one I had seen before. And much like everyone else, you know, when you see a big, heavy cost, you're like, wow, that's ridiculous. And, you know, the start of your... If your life total is less than your starting life total, X is the difference. So if you lower your life total by 13, this thing only costs 2 to play. But I'll be honest with you, if I'm playing a 2-mana 7/7, I don't think I care, because he doesn't have anything else going for it. That's not the same as a Death Shadow. That's a 1-mana 13/13 and can go into any deck that runs black, and says that his attack is the difference. See, this changes the cost. When your difference in your abilities is your power and toughness versus your casting cost, you're making this card more difficult to play. Now, if there's something you know of that, and I stole this one from Pleasant Kenobi, because again, couldn't avoid everything. If you happen to be playing, I can't remember the card, but if you play cards that worry about the cost of certain things, if you care, if this something cares about the total and does something with that 15 and then deals that damage or something like that with that number, this is a great card for that deck. And it won't be that expensive to pick up, because it's a piece of a combo, maybe. It's not even a big piece of the combo, so it's going to be a really cheap card. It's going to be like not even a bulk rare, but that's a lie. It's going to be a bulk rare, because it's nice, but it's not great. I'm not going to lower my life total by 13 to leave me at 7 to give me a 2-mana 7/7. It's just no. Unless maybe I get... I'm trying to make it work by putting other conditions, but based on the card solely by itself, no. Heavy Shakedown. Said that backwards. Shakedown Heavy. For 2 and a black. An Ogre Warrior with Menace. It's a 6/4. And when it attacks, defending player may have you draw a card. If they do, untap it and remove it from combat. So, 3 mana, 6/4 that allows me to keep drawing cards? Yeah, this is going to see play. This is going to see play in decks I build. This is going to see play in decks that other people build. This son of a gun is going to be everywhere. Be ready for it, because it's coming. This thing allows the person to draw you a card to then still get you a blocker. Yeah, it's going everywhere. I'm using this card. I'm loving this card. This card is my new best friend. Tavern Swindler. We've seen this before, literally. Like, we've seen this, except it has new artwork. For 2 mana, 2/2. Pay 3 life. Flip a coin. Win the flip, gain 6 life. You know what this goes well with? The mortality. Maybe. There's a 50-50 shot you won't actually even get it. Anyway. Tenacious Underdog. For black. A 1 and a black. Human Warrior. 3/2. Blitz. Pay 4. What? What? Sorry about that. Got some messages there. Anyway. Blitz. Pay 4 and 2 life. Pay, holy God. Hold on. Blitz. 2 and 2 black. Pay 2 life. Blitz it. And you can cast it from its graveyard using the Blitz ability. So you can continuously bring this bad boy out and just keep drawing a card and get a 3/2 on the field to keep swinging. I don't know if I like it for 4, because it's like, it only costs 2 to play. Why would I play it for 4? Later on in the game, I suppose. Just want a death trigger, maybe. I don't know. Vampire... Scrivener? 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 I feel like it's Scrivener. 4 and a black. Vampire Warlock. 2/2. So 5 for a 2/2, even though it's flying. Whenever you gain life during your turn, put a counter on it. Whenever you lose life on your turn, put a counter on it. So this thing gets bigger no matter what happens to your life total. If your life total changes, this person is getting it. Limited, great. Other than that, I have no idea. I doubt it. Very much so. Might be in some commander decks for vampires. They might want this. Whack. It's a worse Ray of Enfeeblement, because it's sorcery speed. Yep, no. Worst Ray of Enfeeblement. Don't play it. Unless you're unlimited. And now we be in the red cards, and we hit 100 on the dot. I have to respond to this texty here. Yes. Antagonize for 1 and a red. Instant. Target creature gets +4/+3 until the end of turn. Okay. Buffs up. We like it. Actually, it's a big buff up too. So there might be something there. The Arcane Bombardment. 4, 2 reds. A lot of hands. Enchantment. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. Then copy each card exiled with Arcane Bombardment. You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana costs. I believe you get to pick and choose what you want underneath the enchantment from what it sounds like. It has to be instants and sorceries only. And it doesn't include the one that you're currently casting. You pick stuff out of the graveyard that's already there. So you could, in theory, keep considering each turn, for instance. For what? I do not know. But yes, that's the idea. Big score! This is the one we got from AFR, but better. So big score is 3 in a red. You discard a card, and then you draw 2 cards and create 2 treasures. This is doing nothing but replacing the current 2 and 2 reds. What the hell is it called? 2 and 2 reds, 2 and 2 reds. Windfall? No. Nope, that's a whole different thing. Oh, this is gonna kill me. It's in all the dragon decks now, but it's gonna replace that. There's no reason not to, because it's a lot easier to cast. And it does the same exact thing. It's just an easier casting cost. So it replaces that card completely. Moving on! Call in a Professional for 2 in a red. It's a very bright card. Instant. Players can't gain life this turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Deals 3 damage to any target. Shield counters don't prevent this damage as they are removed. Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented. Might see play. Maybe. Daring Escape. Target creature gets +1/+0 against first strike and scry. Okay. It's like Defiant Strike. It's just, instead of drawing, you're just scrying, and it's in red. Devilish Valet. 2 in a red. It's a Trample Haste 1/3. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it doubles the power until the end of turn. So you could, in theory, get this thing pretty big. It's a lot of power. Exhibition Magician. For 2 in a red. Creature, human wizard. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. You create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. Create a treasure token. Ramp. Body. Nice. Glittering Stockpile. For 2 in a red. Artifact treasure. You can pay... I'm sorry, you don't pay anything. You can tap this for a red mana, and you put a stash counter on it. And then you tap and sacrifice it to add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of stash counters on it. Personally, I like it. Don't know why. I can't place why I like it, but something about it calls to me. So, definitely a nice little ramp up. I don't know in which deck this goes in, though. I feel like Magda is part of it. I feel like it's potentially dragons. Maybe. Goldhound, 1 red. Artifact creature, treasure dog. First strike, menace, tap and sacrifice, and add 1 mana of any color. It is a 1/1. No, 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 no. Huh. Hey, well, I think I figured out the problem there. Neat. Ramp on turn 1 for red. Neat. Board Hauler. 3 in a red. Vehicle. Trample, 5/5. When Horde Hauler deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token for each artifact they control. If your opponent's running an artifact or an equipment deck for some reason, by golly, you're going to have a lot of treasures. Brewing is 3. That's a tough one, man. I don't think this... Well, I really don't think this is going to see a whole lot of play. Outside of maybe Commander and a vehicle deck that wants it. Not competitive. Some fun decks here and there on the ladder, but maybe for the first week or so. Involuntary Employment for 3 and a red. Has a really old school vibe to it. This is just the gain control of target creature and you get a treasure instead. See him in every set. Jackhammer. Artifact equipment for 1 and a red. Get +2/+0, equip 2. It is an equipment for draft. Jaxus the Troublemaker for 3 and a red. Legendary creature. Human warrior. You can pay a red, tap, discard a card, and create a token that's a copy of another target creature. It gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. So she gives other creatures blitz. What are you trying to copy, though? Huntmaster? Maybe the Huntmaster? I can see that. Make another 2 doggos. I don't know what, but there's some fun things here. You'll see some play. Light 'em up! 1 red. Sorcery. Casualty 2. Do the sacrifice thing with power 2 or greater. Deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Still aren't seeing any direct damage spells, so that's a bummer, but you can copy us and potentially do 4 damage to a creature or planeswalker if you need to. Mayhem Patrol. 1 and a red. Menace. When it attacks, target creature gets +1/+0 till the end of turn, and you can blitz it in. So you can make this in theory a 2/2. Also, its casting cost and its blitz cost are the same because it's made to make you learn. Plasma Jockey for 3 and a red. Whenever it attacks, target creature an opponent controls can't block this turn. You can also blitz it in for 3. It's a 3/1. It's a limited card. Professional Face Breaker for 2 and a red. Human Warrior. Menace. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Sacrifice a treasure and exile the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn. Okay, well that second effect is definitely useful. This is going to be a standard card for sure. This is going to be a standard card for sure. Along with, it just makes anything able to hit things and make treasures and then use those treasures. Yeah, this is getting closer to the mono red deck. This is making mono red look very plausible because this is what you want in mono red. You want ramp. You want to be able to look at the top card of your library. It's good stuff. Pugnacious Pugilist. It's 3 and 2 red. Creature, Ogre Warrior, 4/4. Whenever it attacks, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 Red Devil creature token with, when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And has a blitz cost of 3 and a red. So no matter which cost you're playing it for, you're going to be attacking with it, clearly. So it's going to leave behind a body. Maybe a little sacrifice fodder for something. You're going to get to draw a card when this dies. either way, you're getting in with a big body, so it's limited playable. I don't really see it in Constructed. I don't know why I'd play it in Constructed. But as limited, it definitely gets a lot of things out the way. For 4 mana. Yeah, I like it. I can dig it. It's gonna 3, maybe 4 in the limited world. Pyre Sledge Arsonist. 2 and a red. Of the Shino Shaman. 1, tap, and it deals X damage to any target, or X is the number of permanents you've sacrificed this turn. Okay. So, if we're playing a sacrifice-heavy deck with either the casualty mechanic or other cards that make you sack, like Deadly Dispute, or something else that makes you sack that's big right now that I can't think of off the top of my head. This just lets you deal that damage directly for 1 mana. I don't know if it's worth the investment. If you have a casualty-heavy deck when you go to play in your F&M drafts, this would work great in that deck. Short of that, I don't see where else it's going. Let's get ready to rumble! So, for 4 and a red, you get a sorcery. It deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker and destroys an artifact. That was a lot more hype than I should have had for that card. You played in limited. Short of that, though. No. Riveteer's Initiate. For 1 and a red. 2/2. 2/2 for 2. And you can play 1 Golgari Hybrid, and you give it Death Touch till the end of turn. Solid little 2/2 if you need them for your deck. Other than that, it's probably the best one we've seen because that Death Touch is pretty easy to get going, so that's a plus side. Riveteer's Requisitor? Nope. For 1 and a red, Riveteer's Requisitor. It's gotta be it. For 3 and 1. When it dies, create a treasure token. And you can blitz it in for 1 mana more. Really don't want you to have that treasure token. Rob the Archives. For 1 and a red, sorcery. Casualty 1. You can exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. It's nice. It's a lot worse than the Reckless Impulse that currently is in there for the same effect. Actually, no, I think Reckless Impulse lets you go until next turn, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one. Because it exiles them. You don't have to sacrifice the creature, but if you really need to get something, I guess. The Sizzling Soloist. For 4 and a red. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature an opponent controls can't block this turn. If this is the second time this has resolved, that creature attacks during its controller's next combat phase, if able. 3/2. So it allows you to stop. It allows you to get through on yours and make them attack you, potentially into something big on your turn. Nifty, nifty. All right. So what do we got? Sticky. Sticky fingers. 1 red. Aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. When Enchanted creature dies, draw a card. This is an amazing aura, and will be seen in all sorts of decks, all across the meta of Pauper. Maybe even Constructed. I would put this in a standard deck, personally. Maybe that aura deck I keep talking about. Strangle. 1 red. Sorcery. Deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Maybe a sideboard card? Potentially? In mono red decks? Even then, not sure. But it's an option. Structural Assault for 3 and 2 red. Sorcery. Destroy all artifacts, then Structural Assault deals damage equal to, or to each creature equal to the number of artifacts that were put into the graveyards from the battlefield this turn. Wow. Okay. So it's a 5 mana board, potential board wipe. Good for all the tokens running around. How many artifacts are you really going to get rid of, though? I mean, it's definitely a commander card. It's a new red board wipe for commander. Torch Breath for X and a red. This spell costs 2 less to cast if the permanent is blue. This spell can't be countered. It deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. So for 1 red mana, you could potentially deal 2 damage to a blue permanent, and it can't be countered. Sideboard card for sure. Don't know where yet, but it's definitely a sideboard card. Unlucky Witness for 1 red, 1/1, Human Citizen. When it dies, you exile the top 2 cards of your library until your next step you can play one of those cards. Well, card selection. Mono red, potentially. You kind of want 1/1s with haste. You want 1 mana creatures with haste, so maybe not. Urabrask, Heretic Praetor. For 3 and 2 black. That's not that color. For 3 and 2 red. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. Haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library and you may play it this turn. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card this turn, instead exile the top card of their library. They may play that card this turn. You know that means they're not drawing anything, right? If you discard their cards out of their hand, if you play hand hate, you make it so they don't have anything. They don't draw their next card. They can't hold on to it past turns. They have 1 chance to use it this turn. And if it is useless to them, and they cannot play it, they're screwed. It slows them down tremendously. He's pretty good. Everybody's giving a lot of flack to him, but he's pretty good, and I don't think a lot of people realize that until they see it on Arena. Widespread Thieving for 2 and a red. The Hideaway enchantment for red. Hideaway 5. When this enchantment enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 of your library, exile 1 face down, put the rest of the bottom of the library in any order. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a treasure token, and then you can pay Wooburg. And if you do, you can play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So, if you're playing a multicolored deck and you don't have this in it, you're a fool. But again, 5-color pile. I don't know what the payoff is for it yet, but it definitely goes in there. The Witty Roastmaster. Or... why are you... what the heck just happened there? Witty Roastmaster. For 2 and a red. Devil Citizen. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. It's a 3/2. Bopper, bopper, bopper. Wrecking Crew for 4 red. I like it. Gonna be good and limited. Wrecking Crew for 4 red. 4/5, Reach, Trample, Human Warrior. It's a vanilla creature, solid stats, looks good in a limited deck. And now we've made our way to green. Ended Socialite. 1 and a green. Elf Druid. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Attended Socialite gets +1/+1 to the end of turn. Okay. Socialite. Say hello to my little friend. 2/1. You got tokens, you got a bunch of little dirtlers. This is going to build it up, and it's going to look good in your limited deck. Constructed, not a chance in hell. Bootlegger Stash. Unfortunately, another one that I saw all over the place. Everyone's losing their mind over it. I've seen one good reason to run this card. And it's the Take Extra Turns card. That's it. That's the only thing I've seen it compare, like, go good with, and it's actually raised the price of the other one. That is it. You're playing it in a Bant deck, in Commander. Good for you. Take all the turns you want, because you now have a way to make it very quickly. Bet you money this gets banned at a Commander. About 6 months. Put money on it. Just a thought. But yeah, that one that's sacrifice 5 artifacts and take an extra turn after this one. Yeah, this works great with that. In the actual standard environment. What are you gonna do with all the treasure? I don't see the. I see the concern as far as that and creating artifacts to be able to do things with, but I don't see. I don't know. I'm having difficulty wrapping my brain around what exactly everyone's so scared or worried about with this card. So, moving on. The Bouncers Beat Down. 2 and a green. Costs 2 less if you target a black permanent. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. And if that creature or planeswalker would die, you exile it instead. This is a sideboard card out of 5. To steal someone's breaking style. It's alright. Broken Wings, we've seen it before. Destroy an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying, because green don't like any of them. For 3. The Cabaretti Initiate. A 1-mana 1/2 that can gain double strike. Okay, well that's nifty. Raccoon Citizen? Solid. Good and limited for a little 1-drop slot. The Strong Arm, Chaldea Strong Arm. It is 4 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 counters onto target creature, and you can blitz it in, and it's for 4 mana. It's a 2/3. Limited. You'll run it if you don't have anything else better. The Capenna Express. 3 and a green. Vehicle. Sacrifice a treasure, and it becomes an artifact creature until the end of turn. Also has crew 3 to make a 6/6. With all the treasures running around, this would be a very solid. I don't even know. You're not going to see it in. I don't know. I don't know where you're going to see it. It's nifty. That first ability is great, but you're not going to see this anywhere. I don't know why you would. I'd be shocked, but I like it. I just don't know how you're going to do it. The Civic Gardener, a 2/2 for 2. When it attacks, untap target creature or land. Okay, so you get a little untap action here, but you got to swing with them. So that's not great. Cleanup Crew. Human Citizen for 4 and 2 green. 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, you choose one. Destroy target enchantment, destroy target artifact, exile a card from a graveyard, gain 4 life. This is your high end in a green Cabaret deck. A lot of options. That gain 4 life is probably what you're going to choose the most, though. Courier's Briefcase. Treasure. For 1 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. You can tap and sacrifice the briefcase to add 1 mana of any color, and you can pay Wooburg, tap and sacrifice it to draw 3 cards. So 2 mana, get a 1/1 with potential for sacrificing to get any mana color, or if you have Wooburg, keep drawing 3 cards. I like it. Again, goes into that Wooburg deck that I don't know exists or not. The Elegant Entourage. Or 3 and a green. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, target creature other than the Elegant Entourage gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end turn. A 4/4 for 4. Now, I don't know if this is... The trample's nice. I don't know what else would do it, though. I don't know why else you would play this. I don't know. For 4 mana, that's a heck of a slot to take up. Gotta be something here. Oop. There we go. Evolving Door. For 2 and a green. Artifact. Pay 1 and tap, sacrifice a creature. Count the colors of the sacrificed creature and search the library for a creature card that's exactly 1 plus that many colors. That's exactly that many colors plus 1. What the hell? Exile that card and then shuffle. You may cast the exiled card, activate only as a sorcery. So it's a terrible birthing pod because you don't even get to... You sacrifice it. Go from having a Land of War Elves to a... Has to have a green in the example, so... Land of War Elves to a... What's the landfall little speed up thingy for the green red? So Llanowar Visionary to the landfall hasty dude, sack him, get the green, red, black, Jun something or other, and then you're stuck. That's it. That's all you can go to, at least in standard. And you have to cast it? This is terrible. Fight Rigging. The green hideaway enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. And if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, you can cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Okay. Well, that's nifty. I like that. I could see this having some potential. Continuous 1/1s, Luminarch Aspirant, but on enchantment that lets you get something. Doesn't make a body, though. That's one downside. These hideaway cards are going to be interesting, that's for sure. A lot of control decks are going to be running around because of these. Well, the family is raiding for the party of 4. King Kazi Gaming. You're the best. Random stranger. I appreciate you. Hi, people. How's people doing? I'm the Flourish user. I'm here. I'm groggy. It's been a long day. We're looking over cards. And right now, we're on green for the family. One green. Instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. If you control 4 or more creatures, that creature gets +4/+4 instead. This will go great in all your little token generating doohickeys, and all of your big wide board that we've seen left, right, and center going on right now in the current meta. But you're not going to see this anywhere in a constructed build. Limited, for sure. Outside of that, nope. Moving on. Freelance Muscle. Okay, I did not touch the keyboard and yet it went back to For the Family. Don't know if there's something more it wants me to say, but I don't care. We're moving on. Freelance Muscle. 4 and a green. Rhino Warrior. Whenever Freelance Muscle attacks or blocks, it gets +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the greatest power and or toughness among other creatures you control. This is not going to see constructed play. This is going to strictly be played in limited. And it's going to do well. I think this might be an uncommon bomb, personally. The removal I've seen isn't the best, so there's not going to be a whole lot of removal, but a 5-mana 4/4 that gets bigger with whatever other creature you have, that's nothing but upside. Otherwise, you just get a base 4/4. I like it. I dig it. The Gala Greeters. 1 and a green. 1/1. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Put a 1/1 counter on Gala Greeters. Create a tap treasure token. You gain 2 life. For every creature that comes into the battlefield, you're picking something that hasn't already been chosen. So you only get 3 of these triggers per turn, but you can get all 3 depending on how much comes in. You can make it bigger, so that's a plus. You make a tapped treasure token, so you can't like use it the same turn. Crafty SOBs. You gain 2 life. And it is one big keyword right here you might notice of elf. Elf is important. Elf could fit into elf decks. But do you even care about that in the elf decks? I don't think you care about it in the elf decks, though. It's a good thing to point out. Good thing to keep in mind. I don't know if it'll count, though. So yeah. For the people who are joining from the raid, I just want to throw it out there to get it out the way. I appreciate anyone who's sticking around and enjoying the show. If you can give me a follow, greatly be appreciated. If not, enjoy. Anyway. With that said, boop, the Glittermonger. For 3 and a green. Creature, elf rogue. Tap and create a treasure token. 1/4. Solid. Just tap it and create a treasure token. It's good and limited. Hey, look, another card. High Rise Sawjack. For 2 and a green. Elf Citizen. Reach. Whenever it blocks a creature with flying, it gets +2/+0 till the end of turn. So it can become a 4/3. Stop any flyers. We've seen some that are okay. It's a card. I don't know who you're gonna. I don't know what it's gonna go up against that I've seen thus far. Yeah, it's just if you need a 3-drop and you're got nothing else, throw it in. Why not? It's good to have a body. Jewel Thief. 2 and a green. Cat Rogue. Vigilant. Trample. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Okay. It's on rate, got some keywords, and it makes a treasure token. If you don't put it into your decks in limited, you're nuts. If you put it in decks and anything else, you're still nuts. And maybe Pauper. Luxurious libation? That sounds like a word. X and green. Target creature gets +X until end of turn, and then create a 1/1 green white citizen creature token. So even if you play this for 1 green mana, you get a 1/1. You get a 1/1 for 1, or you can buff up something else and then also get a 1/1. That's nifty. I don't know what it's going to be played in, but it's nifty. There's somewhere that wants this, but I don't know where or why. Most wanted. 2 and a green. Aura. Flash. Enchantment. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1, and when it dies, you create 2 treasure tokens. I like the flavor. I like the art. I don't know how much I like the enchantment. Now, if it were 2 mana, then we'd be in business. 3 mana, though, even for flash, that's a tough call. I don't know. 2 out of 5? We're gonna say 2 out of 5. Prize fight. For 1 and a green. Instant. Target creature you control fights a creature you don't. Fight, not bite. You also create a treasure token. It's an instant. All good things. The Rocks Pummeler. For 5 and a green. 6/3, enters with a shield counter, and has trample as long as it has that shield counter. So this makes me think that the shield counters... So it says here if you would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a shield counter from it. I think this is any amount of damage. If you chump block this, it will remove the thing, but you'll still get through for 5. That's what I believe it's saying. I think this is a solid card. I think you wouldn't mind playing 1. It's definitely a 3 out of 5. It's not anywhere high on the list, that's for sure. But yeah, solid little limited card. The Riveteer's Decoy for 1 and a green. It must be blocked if able. It's a 3/1, and it has Blitz for 4? Which allows you to draw a card when it dies. That's a thing. It's a if you have to, for sure. The Social Climber for 2 and a green. I don't know how I feel about this artwork. It's very much on theme, so that I like, but I don't know how I feel about it. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. It's a 3/2 or 3. Yeah, no Soul Warden, Essence Warden shenaniganery. I don't like it. It's not. I can't even say it's nice. It's just a thing. It's good and limited. You'll play it in limited. Enjoy your life in limited. Take to the Streets. 4 and a green. Sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until the end of turn. Citizens you control get an additional +1 and gain vigilance until the end of turn. There's a lot of citizens we've seen. A lot of decent citizens we've seen. Can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. If anyone wants to tell me, you are more than welcome to. But nice little buff up for everything. In limited. You're not playing this in. You might play this in constructed if you see some really good citizens coming up. But so far, new. The Titan of Industry. Love a good pun. For 3 greens. For a 7/7. So a 7/7 for 7. When Titan of Industry enters the battlefield, choose 2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Target player gains 5 life. Create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. Put a shield counter on a creature you control. It also has reach and trample. I very much so like this card. I want to try and play this card. To destroy an enchantment, maybe put a shield counter on it. To gain 5 life and create a Rhino. To create a Rhino and slap a shield counter on them. There's a lot of litany of options. And it happens only when he ETBs. Ooh. But he has trample and reach. I do like that. Thank God they gave the building reach. They didn't give this big behemoth of building reach. I was going to be a little upset. Moving on. It's a dinosaur. Topiary Stomper. For 1 and 2 green. Plant dinosaur. 4/4. So it's above rate. Vigilance. And when it enters the battlefield, search for a basic land and put that on the battlefield. It can't attack or block unless you have 7 or more lands. It ramps you. It ramps you for any basic land. I don't know how good this will be. Maybe Commander. Short of that, I don't know what the hell it's going in. I can't imagine it being in a... So what am I thinking of? I can't imagine it being in... Well... I don't even know what this would go in. It doesn't go in mono green. Doesn't go in... Does it go in mono green? Maybe. Maybe. Big maybe. I don't see what the point of this one is. Moving on with life. The Venom Connoisseur. 1 and a green. Alliance, and it's a 2/2. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Venom Connoisseur gains Death Touch until the end of turn. And if this is the second time, all creatures you control gain Death Touch until the end of turn. Ooh, very big on the swarms of things you might have. But that's very cool. Let's see. So if you can play more than 2 things each turn, everything you control gains Death Touch. Nice way to get through. Because if they block you, what's the worst that's going to happen? I see this going in a Lulz deck. Vivian of the Hunt. 4 and 2 green. Legendary Planeswalker Vivian. 4 loyalty. +2. You may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus its mana value. Put it onto the battlefield and then shuffle. It's Birthing Pod on a stick. What am I possibly wanting to sacrifice to keep moving up that ladder? Moving on. +1. Mill 5 cards and then put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand. Very nice. And then a -1 to create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior token. Very nice. Okay. So solid cards all solid cards. Solid effects all around. Yeah, that plus gets her up to 6 loyalty. That's ridiculous right there. To have a Birthing Pod effect, I'm sure there are ways to kind of bounce her around. I like her. I don't know how she's going to do in Standard. I think she's one of those the further back you go kind of deal. But you're looking at for 6 mana. That's a big ask. Maybe 4, maybe even 5. 6? 6 mana. It's a lot. It's a lot of mana. I don't know. I don't know for certain. I think she won't get played as frequently, though. in Standard. Voice of the Vermin. For 3 and a green. Human Citizen. When it enters with a shield counter. And when it attacks, target creature you control has base power toughness of 4/4 until the end of turn. So a 4 mana 2/2 that when it attacks will get something else bigger. That sounds amazing in Limited. Warm Welcome for 2 and a green. Instant. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in order and create a 1/1 green white citizen. Okay. 3 mana to get a 1/1 and also reload your hand a little bit. Not bad. Limited. The Workshop War Chief. For 3 and 2 green. Rhino Warrior. Trample. And when it enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life. Oh, pardon me. Got something in my eyes. Oh. When it dies, you create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior. You can blitz it for 6 mana. So you'll always gain 3 life. You'll always trample over. You will draw a card if you blitz it in when it dies, whether that's from someone trading with it or it just dying at the end of turn because you blitzed it. However, if they exile it, you will not get your 4/4 Rhino when it leaves. So that's just something to keep in mind. Maybe figuring out a way to bounce this would be the way to go, but short of that, I do not know. I can't think of anything to potentially bounce it, except maybe... Actually, that would work. You do the War Chief here. You play it with that white artifact to let you bounce, or white enchantment to let you bounce artifact. Teleportation Circle. Play this with Teleportation Circle. A 4 to 5, and I think you're on the right track to something there. Although it doesn't give you the 4... You're only doing it for the life gain, you're not doing it for the Rhino, so... That's a tough one. I'm not sure what else you're doing it with it. And now we're in a multicolor. Halfway through about, maybe a little over. The Aven Heartstabber. It is a blue and a black. Bird Assassin. Flying, 1/1. As long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyards, it gets +2/+2 and has Death Touch. When it dies, you mill 2 cards and draw a card. That 5 mana cost thing is weird. But it gets +2/+2 and has Death Touch. So as long as you're worried about milling your cards and all that, filling your bin, which it looks like the Grixis, Color Pie, Shard, Wedge, one of the two, is trying to do. Yeah, it should buff up. Nice, 3/3 with Death Touch, flying. 2. Then you've got the Black Market Tycoon for a red and a green Cat Rogue. At the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 2 damage to you for each treasure you control. You can tap it to create a treasure. The downside for such a cheap thing that's able to tap to create a treasure is that for each treasure, it deals 2 damage to you. So you better use that. You better use that treasure. Better use that treasure right quick, girls. He's dealing a lot of damage to you. You ain't holding on to him, that's for sure. Body Dropper. Rakdos colors. Devil Warrior. When you sacrifice another creature, you put a 1/1 counter on it. And you can pay a black and a red, sacrifice another creature, and it gains menace until the end of turn. I think this will be a really fun card in Pauper. Maybe in Limited, especially if you get a lot of the casualty stuff. Short of that, though, you're not playing in Constructed. Heck, you're not even playing in Brawl. Not playing in Commander. The Brazen Upstart for red, green, and white. Elf Shaman 4/2. Vigilance. When it dies, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal it a creature card from the one, put it into your hand, put the rest at the bottom. Only when it dies, though. So, you get a good size power, low toughness, so it'll die relatively easily. And hopefully you'll trade with someone. It's the whole idea. Very solid. You might see this in a few constructed builds, but short of that, I don't know. It's a very strict mana cost, so definitely going to need those your mana to be on point. Broker's Ascendancy. For Bant colors, you get an enchantment that reads, at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter onto each creature you control and a loyalty counter onto each planeswalker you control. Bant Super Friends, if we got the right cards for it, I think would be very nice. Very nice indeed. The Broker's Charm. For Bant colors, instant, choose one. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Destroy target enchantment and draw 2 cards. You only get to choose one. So a bite spell, a destroy an enchantment, not artifact, just enchantment, or draw 2. All very solid options. Very creature heavy deck need to be playing against. And enchantments are not unheard of in the meta right now. I don't know how big they're still going to be after the after this set drops. So we shall see. But I like it. This charm is a solid charm. The Cabaret Ascendancy. For Naya colors, you get an enchantment that says, at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature or planeswalker card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put a card into your hand this way, you may put it on the bottom of your library. So you look at the top card. If it's a creature or planeswalker, you can put it into your hand at the beginning of your upkeep. So this is even before you draw. If you don't, you may put it on the bottom of your library. So you get to choose if you really want to draw an instant or sorcery. If you look and you see it's a land, you can say, man, I need that land, or no, I don't need that land, put it at the bottom. Wow. That's really good. Yeah, the Naya colors are definitely getting a big boost they already didn't have. So. The Cabaret Charm. Sorry, I spaced out there for a second. Cabaret Charm. For Naya colors, an instant, you choose one. Cabaret Charm deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. Okay? Very big on that whole getting a wide board deal. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until the end of turn. Again, solid, like that. An overrun, well, a baby overrun on a stick. Not a stick, it's not a creature. Very tired. Don't hurt me. Or you create 2 1/1 green-white citizen creature tokens. Also good. We love all of it. I like it. It's a good one. Could be a closer. Could be a removal. Could get you some more presence on the board. So, good. Celestial Regulator. For 1, a white and a blue. You get an Angel Advisor. 2/3. Flying. When Celestial Regulator enters the battlefield, choose target creature you don't control and tap it. If you control a creature with a counter on it, the chosen creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So this is a limited playable. You'll want maybe 1 or 2 in your decks. You know, a body that taps things down is in bed. Ceremonial Groundbreaker. For 1, a green and a white, you get an equipment. The equipment Gives equipped to creature +2/+1 and has trample. And you can equip it for 1 to a citizen. And 3 to everything else. Powerful citizens do exist. Sorry about that. Ooh. Powerful citizens do exist. And they shall do good things. How long has it been playing music? Well, hopefully it's not overtaking everything else. Civil servant. Green and a white. Cat citizen. Whenever civil servant attacks, you may tap another untapped citizen you control. If you do, civil servant gets +1/+0 and gains lifelink until the end of turn. It's 2/3. Limited. Pauper even. Short of that. Cormella, Clamor Thief. For 1 and Grixis colors. It's haste. It's a 2/4. For 1, you can tap and add Grixis colors, but you can only spend the mana to cast instant and or sorcery spells. When she dies, you return up to 1 target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. This is going to be in a very specific type of deck that wants it. If you're going to see it in Constructed. And it might. Very unlikely. It's a very high cost to pay. Not that big of a power. Maybe if it was a 3/4, maybe. I don't know. The haste, you get to pay 1, so in essence you're paying 5 to get a body that lets you... You're paying 5 mana to get something that will give you 3 mana back to cast an instant or sorcery, when instead you could have just cast the instant or sorcery. I don't know. Unless you return something, so it better be a good one. Corpse Appraiser. For Grixis colors, you get a card that reads, when this enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature from a graveyard. If the card was exiled this way, look at the top 3 cards of your library and then put 1 of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So that mill strategy again. It's a vampire rogue and it's a 3/3. So you're on rate as a relevant creature type and lets you get a little card selection. Not bad at all. You'll see this running around in some, I'm sure you'll see this running around in some Grixis builds for sure. Corpse Explosion. For 1 black and a red, you get a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Corpse Explosion deals damage equal to the exiled card's power for each creature and each planeswalker. To each creature and each planeswalker. So you're going to want something big in your graveyard that you're willing to get rid of. That is a high ask. Not undoable. Not undoable. Not impossible. Not undoable. But that's a high ask. So I don't know. I do not know on this one. That is that's a tough one. True Captain. For black, red, green. Haste. 4/2. As long as it has indestructible as long as it entered the battlefield this turn. So you get a hasty 4/2 with indestructible. You're swinging in. You're hoping you take something out with it. Or you're just dealing the 4 damage to end the game. Unlimited. Darling of the Masses. 2 mana. For 2 green and a white. Other citizens you control have +1/+0. And whenever this attacks, you create a 1/1 citizen. So you create a 2/1 citizen as long as she lives. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. The Disciplined Duelist. For green, white, and blue, so Bant colors. You get double strike for on a 2/1, and it enters with a shield counter. I like that. Endless Detour. For Bant colors, you get an instant that says, the owner of target spell, non-land permanent, or card in a graveyard puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Could be good removal for your opponent, slowing them down. Could be a good way to get your stuff back. Any options with this one? Evelyn Covetous. For 2 Dimir mana, black, Rakdos mana. You get a legendary creature, Vampire Rogue, that is a 2/5. Has flash and reads, whenever Evelyn the Covetous or another vampire enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of each player's library with a collection counter on it. Once each turn, you may play a card from exile with a collection counter on it. And if it was exiled by an ability you controlled, you may spend mana or any mana of any color to cast it. Okay, so once each turn. So whenever this or another thing under your control, you each exile the top with a collection counter on it. Okay. Each turn, you can play 1 card. You can play a card exiled from... Okay. So, no matter what, you yank everyone's stuff. You play it in mono black. You can play it in just Dimir. Play it in just Rakdos. You can play it the full Grixis. She's gonna be fun to play with. I think I'm gonna do that. I'll try her out a little bit. Moving on to exotic pets. For 1 blue and a white. Set that backwards. Instant. Create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens with this creature can't be blocked. And then for each kind of counters among creatures you control, put a counter of that kind on either of those tokens. You got a 1/1 counter on something? Put a 1/1 counter. You got a vigilance counter? Put a vigilance counter. You got a menace counter? Put a menace counter. No. But you only put on one or the other. You could see this having some uses in Constructed. Not sure exactly what yet, but Falco Spara? Packweaver. The Bant legendary creature. Demon Bird. Flying Trample 3/3. Enters with a shield counter. Look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast spells from among the top of your library by removing a counter from a creature you control in addition to paying its other cost. So if I want to cast a 2-mana spell, I gotta cast a 2-mana spell and remove a counter from something. From a creature. I don't like it. I don't know how I feel about it. Fatal Grudge. For a black and a red sorcery, you have to sacrifice a non-land permanent as well. So you could do a token, you could do a treasure, you could do whatever. As long as it's not a land. And it's a permanent. Then each opponent chooses a permanent they control. Each opponent chooses a permanent they control that share a type with the sacrifice permanent and sacrifices it. So if you want him to get rid of a creature, you gotta choose a creature. If you want to get rid of an artifact, choose an artifact. Enchantment. Interesting. You also get to draw a card. So sideboard, I think. Yeah, maybe in the main deck. I don't know. It's definitely one of the two. The Fleetfoot Dancer. For 1... Okay. Why does it keep doing that? Fleetfoot Dancer. For 1, a red and a green and a white. It's a 4/4 for 4 with keyword soup on it. So trample, lifelink, haste. That's decent. We like it. It's probably going to see some play. Forge Boss. 2 black, red. Whenever you sacrifice one or more other creatures, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's a 3/4. Maybe. Might see play in Constructed. Very niche. Only if you're focusing around the sack, obviously. Limited, pretty good. Sacrifice, that 2 damage will build up. Not a lot of life gain that I've seen. So yeah. This would be great and limited. A lot of sacrifice, so. The Glamorous Outlaw. Look at that Puma. For 3, a blue, red, black. Glamorous Outlaw. When Glamorous Outlaw enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and you scry 2. You can pay 2 and exile it from your hand, and target land gains a blue, a black, and a red. And until you cast from exile, and it remains in exile, or you can cast as long as it remains exiled. So this thing can't even get touched, and some land will become a 3-colored land. It's a 4/5. I very much enjoy these cards because I know for a fact there's a cycle of these particular ones that each do the this effect like here. And I think that was a really good call. So for them to complete this cycle, that would be just amazing. Because 3 colors in Hopper, amazing. Hostile Takeover for 2 blue, black, red. What? Okay. 2 blue, black, red. Sorcery. Up to 1 target creature has a base power and toughness 1/1 until end of turn. Up to 1 other target creature has a base power 4/4 until end of each turn. And then it deals 3 damage to each creature. It sucks. Okay. It's a weird board wipe for Grixis. Incandescent Aria? Aria? For a red, a green, or white, it deals 3 damage to each non-token creature. I do not think this card will see much play. I think we have way too many tokens running around, and I don't see why that would go away. It's nice, but I don't think it's gonna make a difference. Jetmir, Nexus of Revels. It's the Naya Cat Demon. So, a 1, Naya colors. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures. Creatures you control also get +1/+0 and trample as long as you control 6 or more creatures. And creatures you control also get +1/+0 and have double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. 5/4. Big payoffs for playing lots of creatures. Making lots of creatures. Making your board very wide. He is a closer in the biggest sense of the word. You're probably going to play him in limited. You're probably going to play him in standard. It's going to be all over the place. Get used to it. Jetmir's Fixer. Red and a green. When Jetmir's Fixer enters, pay a red and a green. Jetmir's Fixer gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to activate this ability, it's a 1/1 counter instead of the +1/+1. Huh. So 2/2 for 2 with the potential for getting bigger and bigger based on treasure tokens. Interesting. Ginny Faye, Jetmir's Second. You can play this on a mono green deck. Good to know. But for a Gruul hybrid mana, green, and a Selesnya hybrid mana, you get a legendary creature Elf Druid 3/3. And if you would create one or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste, or that many 1/3 green dog creature tokens. So if you have this on the field, and somehow, some way, have, for example, Lolth, because she's one of the biggest token creatures right now. When you down tick her and you go to create your spiders, you can, instead of making 2 spiders, you make 2 cats. Or instead of making 2 spiders, you make 2 dogs. So that's interesting. Some interesting loops, I'm sure, to be had. She's combo potential for things. Not in standard, but in general. Okay. Lagrella the Magpie. For a green, a white, and a blue. You get a legendary creature, human soldier. 2/3. Lagrella the Magpie enters the battlefield. Exile any number of other target creatures controlled by different players until she leaves the battlefield. When an exiled card enters the battlefield under your control this way, 2 1/1 counters. So, what I think that means is that when she enters the battlefield, exile any number of other target creatures controlled by different players. But what it sounds like is when she enters, not her, but you can target your stuff and the other people's stuff, and everything goes under this card. And anything that comes back will get 2. When an exile card enters the battlefield under your control this way. Sounds like it gets 2 counters on it. I gotta see this one in action. It's so weird. I don't know. I tried. Lord Xander the Collector. For 4, a blue, a black, and a red, you get a vampire creature. You get a legendary creature, vampire, demon, noble. That says, when Lord Xander the Collector enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half their cards in their hand rounded down. When it attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded down. And when it dies, target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control rounded down. So, this card is what's called a dick. Yeah, people will definitely not like this card and will like to see it destroyed. Commander loves this card already. I know that for a fact. I've been seeing it left, right, and center. Before I move on to the next card, I'm very quickly going to take a quick potty break. So I will be right back. And we are. So, moving on. Ooh. Yeah. Maestro's Ascendancy. For blue, black, and red, you get an enchantment that reads: once during each of your turns, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard by sacrificing a creature in addition to paying its other costs. If a spell cast this way would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So, you get to play your stuff for free by sacking a creature. So a lot of graveyard sacrifice shenanigans, but it's what to be expected of the Grixis colors. So, Maestro's Charm. A blue, black, red. An instant. Choose one. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. Each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. And it deals, or it could deal 5 damage to our creature or planeswalker. I think all of those are excellent choices. Alright, we're almost there. We got 82 cards left. We're almost there. Getting groggy. It's been a long day. See, look at the top 5 cards, put one into the hand, the rest of the library. You see what the card says. I'm not saying it again because I'm not going to mess it up again. So no. This is a good card for what it wants to do. Maestro's Diabolist. We'll go with that one. For a blue, black, and a red, you get a Vampire Warrior that's a 1/4, a rare. Death Touch and Haste. Whenever it attacks, if you don't control a Devil token, create a tapped and attacking 1/1 red Devil creature token with, when this creature dies, deal 1 damage to any target. So it's almost like Jadar, except for the fact that you create devils, and I don't know how to feel about it. So you only get the token if you don't control something you have to swing in order to do it. Masked Bandit. For 3, a black, a red, and a green. Vigilance. Menace. And you can do the whole exile and cast it from exile thing again. It's a 5/5. I think it's a very solid card. I already said that. I like these cards. Moving up. Meeting of the 5. 3 Wooburg. Sorcery. For those who don't know, Wooburg is white, blue, black, red, green. It's one of each color. It's how they are written when you look at the first letters of them. Except for blue, because the B was already for black, so they wanted to do something for the B for blues. They just went with a U, so it was Wooburg, so it had a vowel in it. Anyway, sorcery. Exile the top 10 cards of your library. You may cast spells with exactly 13... What? Exile the top 10 cards of your library. You may cast spells with exactly 13 colors from among them. Add... Oh. That's how tired I am. Okay. One more time. Exile the top 10 cards of your library. You may cast spells with exactly 3 colors from among them. This turn. Add white, white, blue, blue, black, black, red, red, green, green. Spend this mana only to cast spells with exactly 3 colors. Oh my lord. Okay. This looks like a card. I don't know how to feel about it. I've heard everybody's talking a lot of schmack about it, but it grabs the ascendancies, it grabs the charms, and it grabs the head guys. I don't know if the people who are thinking about that are thinking about that, or if they're reading it right, but it does that. So, you know. Maybe if it was only the 5 mana, though, not 3 and then 5. Metropolis Angel. For 2, a white and a blue. You get a 3/1 flyer, and whenever it attacks with one or more creatures... What? Whenever you attack with one or more creatures with counters on them, draw a card. Mr. Orfeo. Orfeo. The Boulder. 1 black, red, green. Rhino Warrior, legendary creature. When you attack, double target creature's power until the end of turn. Notice it doesn't say when this attacks, it says when you attack, meaning that when you swing with a creature, it doubles target creature's power. The Nimble Larcenist. For white, blue, and black, you get a bird rogue. 2/1, flying. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell from among and exile that card. Good removal. Not sure how good it's going to be because that body's a little low, but at the same time, lets you reveal and yank something from their hand, so you can't exactly hate it, can you? Obnixilis the Adversary. For 1... Stop that. Obnixilis the Adversary. For 1, a black and a red. Legendary Planeswalker Nixilis. Has casualty X. Copy isn't legendary and starting loyalty is X, where the power is X of the creature you sacrificed. So if you sacrifice a Hullbreaker Horror, it becomes a 7 loyalty Planeswalker. Copy. You can uptick for 1. Each opponent loses 2 life unless they discard a card. If you control a Devil Demon, you gain 2 life. You can -2. Create a 1/1 red devil creature token. With when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And you can -7. Target player draws 7 cards and loses 7 life. I don't really need to say how amazing this card's going to be, right? Because I'm playing it. I'm playing the absolute living shnik out of it. Obscura Ascendancy. White, blue, black. Enchantment that reads, whenever you cast a spell, if its mana value is equal to 1 plus the number of soul counters on Obscura Ascendancy, put a soul counter on it, and you then create a 2/2 white spirit creature token with flying. As long as there are 5 or more soul counters on it, spirits you control then get +3/+3. Whenever you cast a spell, if its mana value is equal to 1 plus the number of soul counters on this. So you cast a spell that's 1 mana, and 2 mana, and 3 mana, 4 mana. That's weirdly specific. I don't know how I feel about that. Obscura Charm. For a white, blue, black, choose 1. Return target multicolored creature permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. Or destroy target creature with mana or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. That pretty good. 3 mana, bring a 3 mana creature back from the graveyard. Destroy something 3 or less, or counter an instant or sorcery. I think all of those are great. I think this might be the best one we've seen so far. Obscura Inspector. For 1 a white, blue, black. Get a Sulphid Wizard with Flash, Lifelink, 3/1. And when it enters the battlefield, it connives. When it connives this way, return up to 1 target spell to its owner's hand. So you can essentially counter something, or not counter it, but like divide by 0 it, when that was in standard. So I think it'll be pretty good. Let you cycle a little bit. I can see this being played more often than not. Agnes the Dragon's Lash. For a 1 Rakdos mana, red, Gruul mana, you get a Vishino Warrior with haste 3/3. Whenever a creature you control with haste attacks, you create a tapped treasure token. So, Jund Hasty Boys, maybe? The Park Heights Pegasus. For a green and a white. As flying and trample, it's a 2/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, and if you have 2 or more creatures enter the battlefield under this turn. If you had 2 or more creatures. So that's a thing. I don't hate this, but it's just weird that you have to keep putting 2 or more creatures, and then you get to draw a card after you deal damage with this. It's only a 2/1. It only costs 2 to play, so, you know, I don't know. Quasar. Quasar? Cusa? Cusa. Augur of Agonies. It is a 1 white, blue, black. Legendary creature. Teleport Advisor. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. I really don't think I need to say how amazing that is, because drawing card and draining your opponent is outstanding. Rafine. Scheming Seer. Sphinx Demon. It is white, blue, black. It is the simplest cost we've seen thus far to cast these things. It is flying, ward 1. It is a 1/4. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature can eyes X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So make it do a thing. You have no choice in what you get to keep or not unless you cycle off things, and if you draw a hand of things you want, you can't keep them anyway. But at least you can put counters on the thing and potentially end the game. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that one. But it does give you selection unless you fill your bin, so you can reanimate certain things, so that's not bad. So, we'll see. Ragish Revelers does the same thing in the Naya colors as the other 2 we already went over it. And it costs 1 less to play. The Rigo, the Streetwise Mentor. For Selesnya, a white, and an Orzhov. You can... when it enters the battlefield, it enters with a shield counter on it. It's a legendary creature. It's a 2/2, and whenever you attack a player or planeswalker with 1 or more creatures with power 1 or less, draw a card. Okay, so he is built around lots of little daredlers. Maybe give them shield counters and all that. Interesting stuff, interesting stuff. The Riveteer's Ascendancy. For a black, a red, and a blue... that's not what that says. For a black, a red, and a green. You get an enchantment that reads, whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may return target creature card with a lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Do this only once each turn. Well, that sucks. Also stinks that it's lesser. I guess it would be too powerful, though, if it was a 1/1, huh? Yeah, that 8. Riveteer's Charm. For a Jund mana. Instant. Choose 1. Target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker they control among the highest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Number 2. Exile the top 3 cards of your library until your next turn. You may play those cards. Option number 3. Exile target player's graveyard. All of them are very relevant right now. I think this one and the Obscura Charm are probably the top 2 contenders for me for best charms. So yeah. Rocco, Cavalry Caretaker. For X, red, green, white. You get a legendary creature, Elf Druid. It's a 3/1. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. So, he can help you pull something out of your graveyard if you pump enough into him. In actuality, you're probably only ever going to really pay 5 in total for this. I'd be shocked if you paid more. So maybe a 2 mana value thing. Maybe that for Thalia. That wouldn't be bad. Maybe that for you throw this into your enchantment deck. Maybe you could even do the 6 mana, and you could add him to the Naya Ruins deck that exists right now. 1 less creature, get 2 creatures for the price of 1. I don't hate that. The Scheming Fence for a blue and a white. Human Citizen 2/3. As entered the battlefield, choose a non-land permanent. Activate abilities of the chosen permanent can't be activated. It has all the activated abilities of the chosen permanent except for loyalty abilities. You may spend mana or any mana of any color to activate those abilities. Huh. So you have to choose something that's already on the field. The thing that's on the field can't activate the abilities it has, but you can, as long as it's not a planeswalker, depending on what it is. So you could, in theory, turn this guy into, like, what's that? What's the artifact for that's 2 mana? Bankbuster. You can turn it into a Bankbuster. That would be pointless. It doesn't have the counters. Never mind. Ignore that. You could turn him into one of the vehicles, though. You could turn him into, like, the chariot. Turn him into the chariot, crew him up. No, that's a triggered ability that happens on attack. What the hell's an activated ability of something right now that's really good? I cannot think of one right now. And I'm too groggy to think of one right now. But I could see this going to sideboard of a lot of decks in the blue-white color scheme. Moving on. Security rocks. For 2, a red and a green, you get a Rhino Warrior. You may pay a red and a green rather than paying its mana cost, but only by mana produced by treasures to cast it. And you get a 5/4. That'd be nice. I think that's doable. If you get a lot of treasure generation in your decks, you definitely want to run this card. The Shattered Seraph. It does the same thing in the Esper colors as the other ones we've already talked about. Moving on. Snooping Newsy. For blue and a black, you get a human rogue, and it enters, you mill 2 cards. As long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, it gets +1/+1 and has lifelink. So apparently blue-black is helping with this, keeping your graveyard full of things with a bunch of different mana costs, and you get benefits from those. So that's cool. The Soul of Emancipation. It is an avatar. It is 4 green, white, blue. Okay. When Soul of Emancipation enters the battlefield, destroy up to 3 target creatures. Destroy up to 3 other target non-land permanents. For each of those permanents, its controller creates a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. So you get a 5/7, doesn't fly, doesn't do anything, but it destroys 3 other non-land permanents. So in theory, you could do this to your own cheap stuff and maybe make some 3/3 flyers to end the game. Just a thought. Same thing for Bant. Does the exile thing. Except this one makes it so people can't block. Stimulus package. It's too close to home. A 2, a red and a green. When it enters the battlefield, you create 2 treasure tokens. You can sacrifice a treasure token and create a green-white citizen creature token. I like it. You'll probably play this along with your treasure as such in Limited. The Syndicate Infiltrator. For 2, a blue and a black. You get a Vampire Wizard with flying, and as long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, he gets +2/+2. So it becomes a 5/5 flyer if your graveyard's full of stuff. Like it, love it, you'll play it in Limited, I promise. Tainted Indulgence. For a blue and a black, you draw 2 cards, then discard a card, unless you have 5 or more. So you can potentially just draw 2 cards, however full your graveyard is. But on the low side of this, you'll definitely be discarding 1, netting at least 1 mana, but giving you 2 cards to select from. Not bad. We like that. The Tolitz, the Clever Conductor. For Azorius, Blue, and Demir, you get a human rogue, legendary creature, 3/1. When it enters the battlefield, you connive, which allows you to draw the card, discard the card, and if you discard a non-land card, put a counter on it. When you discard one or more cards, exile them from your graveyard. And when she dies, you put the exiled cards back in your hand. That is interesting. I like that. So, no matter what, it doesn't say that you have to discard it. It doesn't say you have to discard it with connive, it says specifically discarding. And because of the hybrid mana colors, you can do this in a lot of different decks. You can make it a mono blue deck if you really want to. It's definitely something interesting here. Unleash the Inferno for a 1 black, red, green instant. Unleash the Inferno deals 7 damage to target creature or planeswalker. When it deals excess damage this way, destroy target enchantment or artifact an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the amount of excess damage. That is a weird amount of wording. So you're dealing 7 damage to something. Say you actually, it only needed 3. You deal the 3 damage, and then you can destroy with a 4 or less mana valued artifact or enchantment like a chariot. Which it's not bad, it's just really weird. Sideboard card. Void Rend. Maybe not a sideboard card, but like 2 of, maybe. Void Rend. Esper colors, this card cannot be countered. Destroy target non-land permanent. Uncounterable, get rid of something completely on the field. We love it. Doesn't exile, just destroys, but still awesome. Zatora. Zatora, the Incinerator. For a 3 black, red, green, you get a Demon Dragon. Flying, at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Zatora the Incinerator deals damage to that creature, deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. You don't have to sacrifice something, but if you do, you get upside. And it's a flying 6/6. I think that's pretty good. It's not like Fae Cursed King levels of good, but it's good. Zatora. Zatora's Envoy. For 1, a black, red, green, Machino Warrior. Trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top card of your library. You may play a land from the top card of your library, or cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the amount of damage that was dealt from the top of your library without paying its mana cost. If you don't, put that card into your hand. You can blitz this card for 1 mana more. So, this card is great. I love this card. So on the very high end, you can play a mana with 5 or less. You can play a card like that for free. On the low end, you get fucking blocked by something that's almost about to kill your guy, but you can cast a 1 mana spell, depending on what's on top. So, all good things. Arc Spitter. 1 mana. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature has a 1. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature that's blocking it. It's an equipment, for sure. Brass Knuckles. 4 mana. When you cast this spell, copy it. Okay. The equipped creature has double strike as long as there are 2 or more equipment attached to it. So you get Brass Knuckles for each fist, and you can hit someone twice. Thematic. Maybe a 1-of because you get 2 for the price of 1. And they each only equip for 1. So this goes in an equipment deck, but maybe it's like a 1, like a 1 of. Cement Shoes, very missed opportunity on this one. For 1 mana, you get an artifact equipment. Equipped creatures get +3/+3 and a tap at the beginning of your end step. Tap this creature. This creature doesn't untap during its untap step. You know Cement Shoes are meant for drowning, right? Maybe an aura? But why would it be an aura? It needs to be an artifact, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to make an artifact that's a hindrance or something like that, I guess. Chrome Cat, 3 mana. When it enters your scry, it's a 3/2. It's a filler in your draft picks. Getaway Car, 3 mana. Haste, 4/3. Vehicle. Cruise for 1, and whenever it attacks or blocks, return up to 1 target creature that crewed it to its owner's hand. So you want something that's repeatable and really good when it gets entered into the battlefield multiple times. So what is that? Or you tap it, crew it, and then recast it so you have that blocker up, I guess. Guess that's a thing. Guided Pylons. 2 mana. It's an equipment. When it enters the battlefield, you create a treasure token, and equipped creature is flying, and it's 2 mana to equip. These equip costs are actually pretty good this go around. Halo Scarab. Pay 2, exile Halo Scarab from your graveyard. Create a treasure token. It is a 2/1. Luxor. Gaiada's Gift. It's a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Equipped permanent isn't a planeswalker and is a creature in addition to its other types. This is meant to animate your planeswalkers and make them into beefy boys. I think when it's a creature, your loyalty abilities don't go down unless you activate them. So if you block a creature in combat or a creature blocks you, I don't think you lose the loyalty abilities. So that's cool. Ominous Parcel. For 1 mana. It's an artifact. This is going to be played all over the place. This is a cheap thing, and planeswalkers are rampant anyway. Be prepared to see it everywhere. In standard, in modern, in everywhere. Ominous Parcel. For 1 mana. Pay 2, tap and sacrifice it. You can search your library for basic land, put it in your hand, and shuffle. Or you can pay 5 mana, tap and sacrifice, and deals 4 damage to target creature. Good filler card when you need some potential removal or some way to get lands. Paragon of Unlimited. Paragon of Modernity? I have no idea. 4 mana, 2/2. Flying. It is an artifact creature. Angel Warrior. 3 mana. Paragon of Modernity. Gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. If exactly 3 colors of mana were spent to activate this ability, put a +1/+1 counter on it instead. It's really good for limited, maybe. It's not. I lied. Not a good limited card either. It's... you put it in if you need to. Quick Draw Dagger. 3 mana. Flash. When it enters the battlefield attached to target creature you control, that creature gains first strike until the end of turn. Oh! It's +1/+1. Has 1 attached cost. Okay. So... we don't hate this. We don't hate this. We like it in a lot of our decks. I see this going... I can see this doing well. I could see you playing a few of this in equipment decks. Nothing to write home about, but it's nice. Scuttling Butler. 3 mana. Artifact, creature, construct. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more multicolored permanents, it gets double strike until the end of turn. It is a 4/1. That'll happen quite a bit. You'd probably want this in just about any deck where you're going to be swinging a lot with creatures. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Suspicious Bookcase. We've seen it before. It does the same thing, but 2 mana, Defender, 0/4. You can pay 3, tap it, and target creature can't be blocked this turn. It is a 0/4 wall. It does things. Unlicensed Hearse, 2 mana. Exile you can tap it and exile up to 2 target creatures from a single graveyard. That's not crewing it, simply tapping it. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards exiled with it. So 2 mana, you start pulling things out of their graveyard. And its power and toughness are equal to however many things you put in there. Being that you don't need to actually crew it, and they don't seem to go back at the end of it either, which is good to know. So, Botanical Plaza. This is going to be a very, very, very good card. Botanical Plaza. Enters the battlefield tapped. Taps for the green or white. And you can pay 4, tap and sacrifices, draw a card. The Broker's Hideout. This is like the Evolving Wilds and Territorial. That's not it. Yeah, no, Territorial Expanse, right? That sounds right. Except this, when it enters, immediately sacrifices itself. And you search your library for a forest, plains, or island and put it onto the battlefield to gain 1 life. Immediately. There's no waiting, there's no like deciding what you might need. You grab it right then and there. Same with this, except for it's the mountain, forest, and plains. And then we have Jetmir's Garden. Jetmir's Garden is the completion of the Ikoria lands, the cycle lands, bicycle lands, whatever you want to call them. That has all of the land types on them, the mountain, forest, and plains. Except it comes in tapped, but it taps for the Naya colors, and you can cycle it away for 3. You have the Maestro's Theater, same thing as the one we saw before, except it's an island, swamp, or mountain. You have the Oscura Front, same thing, except it's the plains, island, swamp. You have the Racer's Ring, it's the Gruul one that you can pay 4, sack it, and draw a card. Rafine's Tower, it's the cycling land with the swamp, with a plains, islands, and swamp in the Esper colors. It's the sacrifice one, but for Jund. It's the Azorius, comes in tapped. Sack for a draw. Sparta's Headquarters, it's the Bant one. Cycling land. Tramway Station, it's the Rakdos one. District Waterfront, it's the Demir one. Xander's Lounge, it's the Grixis one of the cycling land. The Torah Proving Ground, it's the Jund one of the cycling lands. And with that, we come almost to the end with only the basic lands left. And I just kind of put them in there as something to look at pretty after we're all said and done. I will currently move my happy ass out of the way, or I am in the way. It makes it difficult. You see. Ah. Ooh. Now for the follow. Ooh, very nice. So spectacular. And that brings us to the end of the new Capenna set review. And with that, I'm going to call the stream right here, right now, as this jazz music starts to slowly fade out. I will catch you all in the next one. Don't forget to follow, please. And I appreciate you all for sticking around. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Have a beautiful night. And enjoy.